Volume 12. A Hammer Called Clear Sky. Chapter 78. Tang San's Left Hand, Clear Sky Hammer. Without time to protect himself, Tai Tan only felt as if his brain was pricked by needles, his mind dizzy, a stinging and burning feeling in his eyes. If it hadn't been for the pressure he released making the air distort, causing a certain degree of refraction in Tang San's gaze, his circumstances would be even worse. Tai Tan gave Tang San strength energy pressure, but what Tang San now gave him was a mental attack. At this moment Tang San finally knew what had changed in his purple demon eye after taking the full moon wearing autumn dew. The true form of that gaze had become an attack. The condensed purple demon eye had become a kind of unconventional mental attack, and at this crucial moment when he was about to collapse, it displayed to immense effect. His mind suffering an attack, Tai Tan was naturally unable to further control the pressure he released, and with a muffled groan he actually retreated a step. The pressure in the air suddenly gone, Tang San only felt an emptiness around him. As the tremendous pressure vanished, he couldn't keep from swaying, and if it hadn't been for 4 of the 8 spider lances on his back being thrust into the ground, perhaps he would have fallen the instant the weight was gone. Once again belching up a mouthful of blood, Tang San's complexion was deathly pale. Completely tottering on the verge of collapse, he might fall to the ground at any moment. But it was also at this moment that he felt the rupturing sound of the yang linking meridian among the 8 extraordinary meridians breaking through, the shock of the quickly circulating mysterious heaven skill breaking open this meridian a crack. Even though it hadn't been completely connected, just like a 1,000-li dike being destroyed by an ant tunnel, with this crack he wasn't far from breaking through. However, right now Tang San couldn't be excited. That stick of incense still had a 5th left, and now he completely lacked the strength to reissue the purple demon eye's mental attack, and even less able to rely on inner strength to support his body. Even if Tai Tan launched another attack with 1/3 of the pressure, his only fate was to fall. Could it be that he would truly become another's slave, joining his clan? Tang San understood that this wasn't because of his carelessness, but because of the absolute gap in strength. A humiliated feeling struck his mind hard, and he stuck out his chest. No matter how, he had to persevere to the last moment. As long as he still hadn't fallen, this fight still wasn't over. Making an effort to shake his head, vigorous god Tai Tan could once again see everything clearly after the dizziness. That youngster still stood there unyielding, and even though he cut a sorry figure, his eyes were still resolute. What was that just now? His spirit ability. You still want to continue. You should know that if you do, it might cause you permanent harm. Tai Tan spoke in a low voice. He didn't want to destroy a genius, he had to recruit talent. How would he fail to see the state Tang San was in? Zhao Wuji's voice also impatiently cut in at this moment. Little San, concede. You mustn't destroy your future. Others can sort this out. No, Tang San only spoke this one word, but blood again ran from the corner of his mouth. Please continue. He didn't say much, but at this moment all the teachers and students from the academy watching the battle were moved. How persistent and unyielding to be able to support his words like this. Even Tai Tan showed an alarmed expression. This youngster was really too outstanding. Precisely because of this, he absolutely couldn't let him off. If he couldn't recruit him, then he could only destroy him. With this in mind, Tai Tan's gaze gradually focused, the atmosphere around him once again fluctuating. The blue-silver grass withdrew completely. Slowly and resolutely, Tang San gently raised his left hand. 5 fingers spreading, he didn't look at Tai Tan. His gaze was completely focused on his own left hand. Whether or not I can withstand this final moment, you watch and see. Intense black rays of light bubbled out of his hand, gradually condensing into a shape. A small black hammer quietly appeared in Tang San's palm. The hammer wasn't large, and covered by faint decorative patterns. But the moment it appeared, Tang San seemed to recover a bit of his strength. A grave atmosphere appeared around him. Tai Tan's body suddenly trembled violently once. The pressure already charging at Tang San instantly weakened. Tang San's body rocking once. Holding the hammer at his chest, rigidly warding off this weakened pressure, an unyielding radiance glittering in his determined expression. It wasn't just Tai Tan who turned pale with fright. Tai Nuo at his side also stared wide-eyed and exclaimed in alarm. Just at this moment, 7 rays of dazzlingly beautiful light shone down from the sky, enveloping Tang San's body within just like a 7-colored rainbow. Instantly, Tang San's body shuddered fiercely, his skin recovering its lost gloss, and with a low moan he slowly closed his eyes. At the same time a profoundly bold voice echoed from all directions at once, "Old orangutan, what skill is bullying children? Long time no see, let us take a turn next." In the flickering light and shadow, including Zhao Wuji, no one saw clearly until 3 people stood in the middle of the fight. Standing in the middle was an old man, his right and left hand separately supporting the arms of the 2 people at his side. To his left was an extremely beautiful young lady, apparently 14 or 15 years old. When her feet touched ground, she immediately turned and ran over to Tang San. To his right was a scholarly middle-aged man. Right now in that middle-aged man's palm was a 7-colored dizzyingly glittering dazzlingly beautiful pagoda. The 7-colored light that appeared over Tang San was connected to the pagoda in his palm. Seeing these 3 appear, the pupils of vigorous god Tai Tan's eyes immediately contracted. Even though his nature was always to never fear anything in heaven or earth, confronting these 3 he still had no choice but to restrain his character. I wondered who it was. So it's Bone Douluo and Schoolmaster Ning. Let this old man pay his respects. The 3 arrivals were precisely Ning Fengji, Ning Rongrong and Bone Douluo Gu Rong. When the schoolmaster left, of the 2 resident Douluo at 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School, one would go along and the other would stay at the school to keep watch. Last time it was Sword Douluo Chen Xin who followed Ning Fengji, so this time it was the Bone Douluo's turn. For this reason the Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo had argued for ages. Both of them wanted to see what kind of person the genius youngster Ning Rongrong had talked about was. Actually, Ning Fengji's trio had already arrived as early as when Tang San and Tai Tan made their bet. Ning Rongrong had strongly asked her father to intervene, but had been refused by Ning Fengji. Concealed in a secret place, Ning Fengji's goal was to have a look at just how outstanding this youngster actually was. With him there, naturally there was no fear that the bet would conclude. Now that Tang San seemed unable to endure, Ning Fengji acted immediately, blocking the fight. The Bone Douluo appeared in front of Tai Tan with a whoosh, "Old orangutan, give a brother some face, let this fight pass. Our school also have our eyes on this kid. Don't go fighting over him with us." With the backing of formidable strength, Gu Rong basically didn't need to talk in circles, and directly stated the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School's intentions to Tai Tan. Even though Tai Tan's strength clan wasn't small, compared to the 7 great schools it was still far too lacking. Bone Douluo Gu Rong had complete confidence in being able to suppress him in strength. The Spirit Master world always spoke with strength. Wrecking an agreed-upon bet was admittedly violating the rules of the game, but if the wrecker himself was a person who made the rules, who would say anything? According to Gu Rong's understanding of Tai Tan, this fearless old fogey wouldn't give up so easily. Even if confronted by the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School, with his fiery temper he would still be spoiling for a battle. Not fighting was impossible, but Gu Rong hadn't expected that when he heard his words, Tai Tan actually smiled. Even though a smiling expression clearly looked somewhat strange on his stiff face, Gu Rong was certain that Tai Tan was smiling, and moreover that the smiling expression held a sarcastic overtone. "Old orangutan, what are you laughing at?" Tai Tan snorted, saying, "You want me to give you face? Fine, I'll give it. We'll drop this bet, I don't lose, and he doesn't lose." Gu Rong stared blankly, "Giving face like this? Old orangutan, this isn't your style." The corners of Tai Tan's mouth twitched, and he raised his hand to point to Tang San. "Old Bone, take a good look at what's in his hand." Luckily you're still a titled Douluo. Could it be you don't have even this much eyesight? At this, Gu Rong's gaze fell on Tang San. Following Tai Tan's finger, he could just see the black little hammer in Tang San's left hand. In that instant his expression also changed immediately. He's actually clear sky. Tai Tan smiled without smiling. You know it. For me this is flooding the Dragon King temple. For you it might be only be inviting a rejection. Ha ha, ha 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 ha. While laughing, he walked over towards Tang San with big steps like a shooting star. Gu Rong had seen the little black hammer in Tang San's hand, and Ning Fengji had naturally also seen it. His expression was slightly artificial, but very quickly recovered to normal. A schoolmaster's bearing wasn't something Gu Rong could compare to. Gu Rong moved over to Ning Fengji's side, somewhat impatiently saying, "Schoolmaster," in his hand. Ning Fengji interrupted him, saying with a nod, "I know. It's no wonder that he's so outstanding. I didn't expect him to come from clear sky. His family name is Tang. I should have realized it long ago." The brilliance of the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda in his hand was unceasing, still covering Tang San's body, rippling into him from the surroundings. Right now Tang San already felt as if he had gone from hell to heaven. A comfortably warm air, extremely mild humidity rapidly recovering his energy, agility, strength, mind, and even something Tang San couldn't define. The previous feeling of absolute emptiness within him as well as the injuries caused by the tremendous pressure all gradually faded in this gentle energy. The mysterious heaven skill within him also seemed to strengthen under this humidity, circulating all over, the crack in the yang linking meridian constantly widening under the unceasing attack of the mysterious heaven skill. Tang San hadn't seen who helped him, but soaked in that 7-colored radiance, what he had lost gradually returned, and even became stronger. The blue-silver grass recovered its lost luster, the red and white light from the 8 spider lances glinting with an even more threatening gem-like light, and even the black little hammer flickered with a crow-black light. How could the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda's name as the first auxiliary system spirit be a false reputation? As schoolmaster, Ning Fengji had even more brilliant skill with this emblematic auxiliary system spirit. In a few short minutes when Tang San once again opened his eyes, his expression was already energetic, as if he had been reborn. If it wasn't for the torn clothes and not yet dried sweat, right now it would seem as if he had never experienced that dangerous bet. "Third brother, are you all right?" Ning Rongrong asked with deep concern. Xiao Wu and Ning Rongrong as well as Oscar had all already run over to Tang San. Zhu Zhuqing and Ma Hongjun had also separated from the crowd, encircling Tang San. "I'm already fine." While speaking, Tang San's gazed in the direction that 7-colored radiance drifted from, just in time to meet Ning Fengji's eyes. Ning Fengji smiled, and the radiance of the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda in his hand faded. As he lowered his hand, that miraculous spirit also vanished. "How come it's you?" Tang San couldn't help say in astonishment. Ning Fengji smiled slightly. "So it's really you. It seems we really are brought together by fate." Ning Rongrong's big eyes blinked. "Daddy, you know each other." Even without Ning Rongrong's words, Tang San already vaguely guessed Ning Fengji's identity. The 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda's 7 treasures appearing simultaneously, how many people could manage that? Quickly taking a few steps forward, he bowed to Ning Fengji in salute. "Greetings, Schoolmaster Ning." Ning Fengji smiled slightly, raising his hand to pull Tang San up. "Since you're Rongrong's friend, and she calls you third brother, it's suitable if you call me Uncle Ning. I would hope to hear you call me this." Ning Fengji saying this could be considered a public expression of goodwill. In fact, with his position, on the entire Douluo continent he only had to stomp his feet to make the 4 seas tremble. Even an imperial prince like Zhu Xing wouldn't dare offend him. The 7 treasure glazed tile school didn't just have robust strength as a sect with 2 Douluo. At the same time, their financial resources had always been number 1 among the 7 great schools. Obtaining the recognition of School Master Ning Fengji would be a gargantuan occasion to the vast majority of spirit masters. Tang San's attitude didn't change because of learning Ning Fengji's identity, only bowing once again and saying, "Greetings, Uncle Ning." Ning Fengji laughed out loud, saying, "Good. Good, we'll talk again later. First settle the present business." Tang San's expression became serious. From the terms of the bet, even though he hadn't fallen, he knew it would have been very difficult for him to resist Tai Tan's next attack until the stick of incense burned out. Even though the incense on the gate had burned out, his heart was still heavy. Tang San was a person who would absolutely abide by promises, but he also understood that with his current strength it would be far too difficult to resist the pressure Tai Tan could release. He didn't know how much of his pressure Tai Tan had released before, but judging by that last steep pressure increase, the opponent hadn't gone all out from the start. His gaze slowly turning, Tang San looked towards the not distant Tai Tan. Vigorous god Tai Tan was also looking at him, meeting his gaze expectantly, and with a slight wave of his hand brought his son and grandson towards Tang San in big strides. His expression was filled with emotions. "I'm sorry, Senior, our bet was interrupted, but we can do it again." Breaking open the yang linking meridian increased Tang San's ability to resist pressure somewhat, and as long as he didn't truly fall before the opponent, he also wouldn't easily concede. But Tang San hadn't expected Tai Tan to only solemnly gaze at him. "Your name is Tang San. What is your father's name?" "Is it Tang Hao?" Tang San looked at the pure strength type formidable spirit master in front of him with astonishment. "How did you know?" His words were without doubt an acknowledgement of what Tai Tan had said. Tai Tan's aged face flushed red with agitation, and under Tang San's inconceivable gaze, that majestic like a mountain frame abruptly knelt with one knee on the ground with a putong sound, completely moved speechless. "Senior, what's this about?" Tang San jumped with fright at Tai Tan's movement and hastily got out of the way, not daring to receive Tai Tan's courtesy. Seeing Tai Tan kneel, both Tai Nuo and Tai Long hastily followed his example. Tai Long was even more astonished than Tang San. He couldn't understand why his grandfather's attitude would suddenly make an enormous 180-degree turn. Tai Tan suppressed his strongly surging heart. This old slave Tai Tan pays his respects to young master. Young master, as these two words came out, apart from the 7 treasure-glazed tile school master Ning Fengji and the bone Douluo, who had unvarying expression, made practically everyone around turn pale with fright. Especially those teachers and students who had vaguely guessed Tai Tan's strength were even more unable to hide their shock. Tang San was stupefied. A person who had previously been oppressing him until he was unable to breathe was actually kneeling in front of him. For a while he couldn't adapt to the enormous contrast. "Senior, won't you explain it clearly first?" Tang San stepped forward to lend an arm to Tai Tan, but this old fellow was determined to kneel. "Young master, this old slave has finally met you. Do you know master's current whereabouts?" "Master," from the meaning behind Tai Tan's words, Tang San could naturally hear that what he indicated with "master" should be his father. His father's mien flashed through his mind. Tang San was unable to believe that his father, every day soaked in shoddy alcohol, would actually be called master by a spirit Douluo level power. The intense shock and sudden news momentarily put Tang San's heart in disorder. Supporting himself on Tai Tan's imposing body, for a moment he just stood there rigidly. Hi, I think it would be better if you first found somewhere quiet, and then continued chatting about your master and servant situation, all right?" Just what is called, the participant is baffled, but the onlooker sees clearly. 7 treasure-glazed tile school master Ning Fengji standing to the side broke the awkwardness. Tang San came to himself at this, and hastily said, "Just so, senior, you get up first. If there are any matters we'll first find a place quiet." Tai Tan somewhat vigilantly looked at Ning Fengji to the side, then stood up. "Young master, please follow to this old slave's home to chat." Tang San glanced at the Shrek 7 devils next to him as well as Ning Fengji, and immediately felt embarrassed. Even though he was anxious to know just why Tai Tan had addressed him like that, Ning Fengji saved him just now and was moreover Ning Rongrong's father. His coming here seemed to be in order to find him. If he left, it would clearly be grounds for discord. What kind of person was Ning Fengji? How wouldn't he see Tang San's current awkwardness? With a slight smile he said, "I think it would be better like this. Since we've already come to the Shrek Academy, we should tour the place. Vigorous God should also be the guardian of a student here, so why don't we all enter?" Even though Tai Tan was inwardly unwilling, as he also saw Tang San's current awkwardness, he forced himself to nod, saying, "All right. Who is in charge of this academy?" His last words were immensely loud, shocking the ears of the watching students, so they rang. Even though Zhao Wuji wasn't too willing to confront Tai Tan, right now he also didn't have a choice. Quickly stepping forward, with a forced smile saying, "Old brother Tai Tan, long time no see, have you been well?" Seeing Zhao Wuji, Tai Tan looked distracted a moment, a cold light flickering in his eyes. "So it's you, kid. I couldn't find you for all these years, but you've actually been hiding here. We'll think about it undercover. Find us a quiet place. I want to have a careful talk with the young master." Whether it was Tai Tan or Ning Fengji, neither was someone Zhao Wuji could afford to offend. Right now Flender, Grandmaster, and Lu Erlong's trio, as well as Dugu Bo, who might suppress an incident, were all gone. He couldn't wish to be ripped apart by this vigorous god here. Hastily he said, "Everyone have come from afar, please come inside. All students return to class. Who allowed you to gather here?" The students were quickly but gently returned to school by the teachers, while Zhao Wuji personally brought Tai Tan's family, the people from 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School, as well as Tang San into the academy. Zhao Wuji gave Tang San a meaningful look, saying, "Little San, you go clean up first and change your clothes. Afterwards come to the 4th floor meeting room." Tang San currently wore little more than sweat and bloodstains, and even though his body had recovered under the assistance of Ning Fengji's 7 Treasure Glazed Tile Pagoda, his appearance was clearly too unsuitable. Together with the Shrek 7 devils, he headed for the dorms. "Gee, how are you?" Xiao Wu pulled at Tang San's arm, gripping his right hand, slowly infusing her own spirit power into Tang San. Tang San hurriedly declined her good intentions. "Don't worry, Xiao Wu, I'm already fine." Ning Rongrong to the side hit her chest, saying, "Xiao Wu, don't worry. My daddy's 7 Treasure Glazed Tile Pagoda has already reached the ideal 7 treasure realm. Not only can it assist, it also has powerful treatment capabilities." Before, when the 7 treasures came out simultaneously, even if third brother had stopped breathing, he could still recover. There wouldn't be anything wrong. But what was all that about just now? How does third brother and that old fogey fit together? That old fogey isn't weak. My grandpa Bone said his strength was on the spirit Douluo level. Before Xiao Wu could speak up, Oscar already swiftly recounted the events. Seeing Ning Rongrong return, originally he was very happy, but as he saw Ning Rongrong's father and that tyrannical Grandpa Bone, he couldn't help feel a bit apprehensive. It goes without saying that he had to restrain his original intentions of speaking his mind to Ning Rongrong as soon as she returned. Listening to Oscar's explanation, Ning Rongrong couldn't help laughing. Beat the son and the father comes, beat the father and the grandfather comes. Does it keep going? Never mind, third brother, next time they come looking for trouble, we'll go together. Even though Boss Dai isn't here, with our combined battle strength we can hold him off for a while. If my daddy lends a hand, with his assistance we can hold him down. Tang San's current mood was very complicated. Tai Tan's display just now had shocked him, and he vaguely felt that what he had said was related to his father's disappearance. Could it be his father wasn't just a drunkard? Was he a person that could make a spirit Douluo address himself as a slave? Another step up, was perhaps only titled Douluo. Returning to the dorm, Tang San first sent back the others, including Xiao Wu. He quickly washed of the dirt and changed his clothes before swiftly running to the 4th floor of the school building. To him right now, Ning Fengji's purpose in coming wasn't important. What he most wanted to know about was what Tai Tan called him. Reaching the 4th floor, Tang San just saw Zhao Wuji stepping out from a meeting room. Zhao Wuji made a silencing gesture to Tang San, hurriedly pulling him over to a corner. "Little San, no matter what they tell you later, you must stay calm. That old fellow Tai Tan and Ning Fengji don't get along, so I arranged them in 2 rooms. Who you see first is your decision. However, no matter what, you mustn't easily make any promises. If you can't, you can ask to wait until Grandmaster and Flender returns." Tang San was always calm, and after listening nodded. "Teacher Zhao, don't worry, I know what I should do." Zhao Wuji smiled wryly. Right now he was only a foil. With this gap in strength, whether it was the golden iron triangle or the poison Douluo, as long as one of them was here, the academy wouldn't be as passive as now. Tai Tan wasn't bad, even though his strength clan wasn't weak. With so many teachers at the Shrek Academy, Zhao Wuji still wasn't worried about him. But Ning Fengji was different. That leader of one of the 7 great clans, those 2 resident Douluo alone were enough to make the 4 oceans tremble. Among all the 7 great clans, the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School was ranked 2nd, considered one of the upper 3, above even Grandmaster's Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. Zhao Wuji wasn't at all worried about Tang San. He was even a bit happy that Tang San had revealed his hammer just now. Even though he was shocked to learn Tang San had twin spirits, these twin spirits had now also become something that made even the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School apprehensive. When Zhao Wuji had pointed out the 2 rooms, Tang San without the slightest hesitation first chose Tai Tan's family, pushing open the door and entering. Tai Tan ranked higher, but when he saw Tang San entering, he hastily stood up from where he sat thinking, and without waiting for Tang San to react, this vigorous god once again fell to one knee. "This old slave injured young master, please choose a punishment." Seeing Tai Nuo and his son follow Tai Tan's example, Tang San's face revealed a wry smile. "Senior, get up first. We'll talk properly. Right now I don't quite understand what's going on. Why don't you explain it all to me first? Perhaps you've mistaken me for someone else. I'm not someone you'd call young master. My background is only as the most ordinary commoner." Tai Tan looked distracted a moment. Standing up, he sized up Tang San and immediately asked, "Isn't your father called Tang Hao?" Tang San nodded. "My father's name is indeed Tang Hao, but he's not someone you'd call master." Tai Tan lowered his voice. "If your father is Tang Hao, then there's no mistake. Young master, how did you and master live for all these years? How come you would use that blue-silver grass spirit?" "Hold on." Tang San somewhat impatiently halted Tai Tan's words. "Senior, can't you first tell me what sort of person my father really is? How come you would call him master? You don't know. Master didn't tell you anything." There was a pondering light in Tai Tan's fierce eyes, and he paced back and forth within the room. "Young master, why don't you first tell this worthless elder how you lived with master for all these years?" If master didn't say anything, this worthless elder also daren't speak out of turn. Tang San felt a burst of dejection, and inwardly couldn't help feel more and more perplexed. "From childhood I lived with father in Holy Spirit Village. Father was the village's sole blacksmith, and every day besides working, his only hobby was drinking." "Blacksmith?" Tai Tan stared wide-eyed, an expression of inconceivability in his eyes. For a moment his hair and beard quivered, and for a long time he couldn't control himself. "Master, how could you be reduced to such a state? At that time, you were..." Here Tai Tan's face was covered with tears, already unable to stop his sobs. Tang San was confused. He had already explained how miserably he had lived with his father. Why would this formidable spirit Douluo still believe his father was the one he called master? "Senior, I think you really have the wrong person. My father is only a common blacksmith." Tang San couldn't keep from emphasizing it once again. Tai Tan wiped his tears. "Young master, even if I don't know why master wouldn't tell you about his identity, I can be certain I'm not mistaking you for someone else. Other things can be mistakes, but can spirits be wrong? Let me ask you, who did you inherit your blue-silver grass spirit from? Tang San said, It should be inherited from my mother. Tai Tan questioned closer, Then your other spirit? That little black hammer you held in your left hand before, who was it passed down from? Blue-silver grass belongs to your mother, then that hammer can only belong to your father. I can make mistakes in other things, but if I couldn't even recognize Master's clear sky hammer, then I wouldn't have the face to keep living in this world. The clear sky hammer's pattern is unique and unmatched. In those days I always followed at Master's side, how couldn't I recognize it? This is a unique spirit. Tai Tan's words in the end revealed a gap, and hearing the words, clear sky hammer, Tang San's whole body trembled. Grandmaster had taught him for so many years. Of course he had told him about the 7 great schools of the present age. Among the 7 great schools were the 3 upper and 4 lower sects. The 3 upper sects were separately the Clear Sky School, the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon School. The reason they were called the 3 upper sects was of course because these 3 great schools each had at least one title Douluo Guardian. Even though the 4 lower schools were quite powerful, they still didn't have a power like those titled Douluo. Among them, the Clear Sky School was no doubt the most formidable existence of the 3 upper sects. In Grandmaster's assessment, both the Clear Sky School and 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School had 2 resident Douluo, but even with the support of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School's strongest support spirit, those 2 titled Douluo still wouldn't stand a great chance of winning against the 2 resident Douluo of the Clear Sky School. As a result, this Clear Sky School could be said to be ranked first among the 7 great schools, the first school in the whole Douluo continent. And Clear Sky School's inherited spirit was a kind of tool spirit, called Clear Sky Hammer. Grandmaster had never said much about the Clear Sky School's circumstances, this was all Tang San knew. Now hearing vigorous God Tai Tan in front of him actually say that hammer of his was actually the Clear Sky Hammer, how couldn't he be shocked? Raising his left hand, black light coalescing, the Clear Sky Hammer once again appeared in Tang San's palm. This is really the Clear Sky Hammer. This time the distance was even shorter, and Tai Tan could observe the black little hammer in Tang San's hand even more clearly. As soon as the little hammer appeared, he nodded without the slightest hesitation, only the direct blood relations can possess it. And among the direct blood relations of the school, only Master has been away for a number of years straight, also only Master's name is Tang Hao, there's no mistake. Young Master, even though he didn't say so in detail, this moment was already enough to tell Tang San that he was from the Clear Sky School. You are saying, my father is directly blood related to the Clear Sky School, and I as well. No, that's impossible. If father was from the Clear Sky School, why would he be reduced to a blacksmith? What kind of position did the Clear Sky School hold in the Spirit Master world? It was a formidable existence even Spirit Hall wouldn't lightly dare offend. In overall strength being capable of competing equally with Spirit Hall, were only the 7 great schools. Especially the 5 titled Douluo of the upper 3 sects. Among the 7 great schools, the Clear Sky School was very mysterious, it was rare for people to even know its location. But the Clear Sky School's dignity wasn't something anyone dared offend lightly. Even the current Spirit Hall's Supreme Pontiff would still be extremely respectful to it. If his father was born from the Clear Sky School, and was directly blood-related, then. Volume 12. A Hammer Called Clear Sky. Chapter 79. Lifetime's Riddle of Clear Sky Douluo. Thinking about all of this, Tang San remembered his father leaving him a letter before he left. Placing his hand on 24 moonlit bridges, he took out the already yellowed letter from his belt. Senior, do you recognize this handwriting? When I was 6 years old, my father left this letter behind and left home and never came back. Tang San showed the letter to Tai Tan, which he often took out to read. This was the only trace of his father. Every time Tang San took out this letter, he couldn't suppress the longing he had of his father. Little San, by the time you see this letter, I have already left. Do not bother trying to find me, you can never find me. Although you are still young, you have the ability to provide for yourself. Young eagles must spread their wings on their own and fly, only then will they soar to great heights. There's no need to worry about me. In your character there is a lot of your mother's softness. Father is a useless man. You have grown bigger. Father has to go back to get some things that originally belonged to me. Someday, we father and son will meet again. I wish for you to become strong, but at the same time I do not wish for you to become strong. This is your own path and your own choice. If one day you feel that becoming a spirit master is not the job for you, you can return to Holy Spirit Village and become a blacksmith like me. Do not miss me. Tang San had always considered this letter a memory, entrusted with his father's thoughts of him. But reading it again now, combined with what Tai Tan had suggested about his identity, it suddenly held a completely different meaning. Especially the line, I wish for you to become strong, but at the same time I do not wish for you to become strong, showed the mixed feelings Tang Hao had when he wrote this letter. Also, the thing that Tang Hao wanted to take back, what might it be? After reading the letter, Tai Tan had a peal of despondency, and could not help but think out loud, "Oh Master, how can you say you are useless? In this old slave's heart, you will eternally be the pillar of the clan." Bowing his head to look down at Tang San in front of him, Tai Tan carefully returned the letter to his hand. "Young Master, there's no mistake. This is Master's handwriting. Then my father really came from the Clear Sky School. Senior, I implore you, tell me the truth about this matter. Since he was a member of the Clear Sky School, why would he live with me in Holy Spirit Village? What actually happened in between? Please tell me, I must know the truth." Tai Tan looked at Tang San. Tears could not help but flow from his eyes once more. He could fully imagine how life had been like without a mother, and having his father leave him when he was 6 years old. How lonely and bitter a life Tang San must have led for these years. Tai Tan couldn't keep from spreading his arms, pulling Tang San into an embrace. "Young Master, my poor young master, all these years you must have suffered." At this moment Tang San's emotions were surging, not knowing what to do. The sudden news had completely disturbed his train of thought, and the words, "Clear Sky School," were too shocking. "Young Master, I can't tell you about Master's affairs back in those days. That secret belongs to Master himself. Even I am unsure what happened. All you need to know is that Master was a man with an indomitable spirit, the most terrifying existence in this world. No one could compare to him. My Strength clan was originally one of the 4 great subsidiary clans of the Clear Sky School. It was because of Master that I chose to separate from the Hao Tian clan, to again stand independent in Heaven Du City. Since Master has reappeared, the Strength clan will without a doubt be Master's subordinates. Although Master is currently not around, there is still you, young Master. From now on, the Strength clan will be yours to command. A total of 217 able-bodied spirit masters who will follow you to the death." Tang San's eyes blurred. His father had left for 8 years, without a word the whole time. It would be impossible to claim that there wasn't a hint of resentment, but right now Tang San could suddenly feel his father's helplessness. If he was really from the Clear Sky School, and the one Tai Tan called Master, yet had been reduced to poverty as a blacksmith and drunkard in Holy Spirit Village for 6 years. Just how deep was his sadness and helplessness? Thinking of his father's mournful wails when he was reincarnated into this world, Tang San understood something. He gripped Tai Tan's solid arms with his own. "Senior, right now my thoughts are in a mess. I need to calm down and think it over." Tai Tan quickly said, "Young Master, you mustn't by any means call me something like Senior again. Just call me Old Slave Tai Tan." Tang San smiled wryly and said, "You are Tai Long's grandfather, he and I are schoolmates, and I am younger than him as well. If you do not mind, I will call you Grandpa Tai." But Tai Tan hesitated. Tang San said, "Even if my father were here, he would definitely approve of me addressing you like this. Grandpa Tai, I must go see Schoolmaster Ning, let us meet again. Regarding my life since my birth, please keep it a secret. I need to calmly think about this." Tai Tan spoke in a grave tone. "Young Master, You must definitely be careful of Ning Fengji. The owner once said that the 7 treasure glazed tile school's new master Ning Fengji was a man of great potential. In his hands the 7 treasure glazed tile school would definitely flourish. You belong to the Clear Sky School. No matter what, you cannot join the 7 treasure glazed tile school. Tang San nodded slightly. Grandpa Tai, don't worry. Even if we hadn't spoken today, I still didn't intend to join any school. I wouldn't give up my own freedom for power. Listening to Tang San, Tai Tan couldn't help looking distracted a moment, his eyes blurring. Within Tang San's calm and collected words, it was as if he could see Tang Hao from those days. Walking out of the room with Tai Tan and his family, Tang San took 2 deep breaths, wiped clean the moisture from his eyes, and calmed himself down, entering the other meeting room. Ning Fengji was seated in the seat of honor in the conference room, calmly drinking tea. By his side, Bone Douluo Gu Rong was seated with his eyes closed until Tang San entered the meeting room. Opening his eyes, he swept his gaze across Tang San, with an unconcealed sharpness. Ning Rongrong stood obediently behind Ning Fengji, sticking out her tongue at Tang San. Greetings, Uncle Ning, I've kept you waiting. Tang San bowed slightly towards Ning Fengji. Ning Fengji slightly smiled and said, no matter. Sit, little San, can I call you that? Tang San nodded. You're Rongrong's father, of course you can. Ning Fengji laughed in spite of himself. It seems I've actually been infected by Rongrong's enthusiasm. After hearing about you from Rongrong, as well as last time's meeting, I dare say even your father had never accomplished such things at your age. Honestly speaking, I came here ready to bring you into my clan at any cost, but I didn't expect you to be the son of an old friend. Uncle Ning, you know my father. Tang San's not easily restrained pulse sped up once again. Ning Fengji nodded, naturally. The continent's youngest title Douluo, I expect that in the Spirit Master world there aren't many that don't know of him. Although Tang San had guessed his father's strength, when Ning Fengji said title Douluo, he still felt an intense shock. That father who had drowned himself in cheap ale, relying only on blacksmithing to make a living, would actually be called a title Douluo. When Ning Fengji brought up about Tang Hao, even the Bone Douluo sitting to his side couldn't help showing a respectful expression. Nothing was hidden from Tang San's eyes, and seeing this was another step towards confirming that Ning Fengji's words weren't unfounded. Ning Fengji continued, your esteemed father has been missing for so many years. Do you know his current location? We brothers have not met for many years, and if there was a chance I would personally go meet him. Tang San bitterly said, I also don't know my father's whereabouts. He disappeared 8 years ago. In these 8 years there has yet to be a word from him. If it is like Senior says and my father comes from the Clear Sky School, then perhaps right now he should be there. Ning Fengji and the Bone Douluo looked face to face, their eyes revealing expression of astonishment. Ning Fengji's expression very quickly returned to normal and he said to Tang San, Little San, I have come to recruit you to my clan and give you the best treatment. But since you're the son of an old friend, this is obviously impossible. However, Uncle is still very interested in the hidden weapons you made. Would you be willing to sell the production method to us? You can name any price, Uncle won't haggle. Although Ning Fengji appeared rather elegant and refined, his words gave people a kind of broad magnanimous feeling. This was clearly not something an average person possessed. Tang San shook his head without hesitation and said, that's impossible. I won't sell the hidden weapon production method. But I promised Rongrong that I would sell hidden weapons to your school. I can give you the forging procedures, but the final assembly must be done by me. Firstly, it's because hidden weapons research is difficult, and I don't want to sell it. Another reason is that to teach an artisan to create hidden weapons would take several years. I still have to spend most of my time cultivating, and there's no spare time for such. Ning Fengji hadn't expected Tang San to refuse him so firmly. What is called giving a man a fish is less than teaching a man to fish, was naturally an argument he understood clearly. Hidden weapons would naturally break down and be consumed with time. If they truly had such a great effect, then wouldn't the 7 treasure-glazed tile schools face hereafter always rely on this child? Watching the pondering expression Ning Fengji revealed, Tang San didn't hesitate at all, indifferently saying, "I don't know whether Uncle Ning would like those hidden weapons." Ning Fengji returned to himself. From Tang San's tone he could tell that the hidden weapon manufacturing methods clearly weren't up for discussion. Even though Tang San was only a teenager, the calm cool-headedness and unswerving determination he had revealed wouldn't be so easily swayed. Immediately Ning Fengji settled for the next best thing, saying to Tang San, "We've seen the hidden weapons Rongrong was equipped with. Equipment just like hers. I want 500 sets. I will pay 10,000 gold spirit coins for each set. What do you say?" Tang San said, "The price is no problem, but I must say something first. This full set of hidden weapons won't include the flying god claw on Rongrong's right hand. I can exchange it for another silent sleeve dart. The rest will be the same. It's because the flying god claw isn't a hidden weapon. Even though it has the ability to attack, it's even more important as support. Furthermore, the flying god claw components are very difficult to make. It would be hard for a common artisan to complete." Ning Fengji hadn't seen Ning Rongrong use the flying god claw, and only now learned from Tang San that his daughter actually still had such a thing. But he was already extremely satisfied with the hidden weapons Ning Rongrong used before, and immediately nodded and smiled, saying, "Good, that's settled. Additionally, I will pay you a further 1 million gold spirit coins, as repayment for the beautiful silk tulip you gave Rongrong. At the same time I would also like to ask, do you still have beautiful silk tulips? If you do, no matter the price, I want to trade for it." Even with Ning Fengji's status, the lure of the 9 treasure-glazed tile pagoda was really too great. That was the only opportunity to take one step further for him who was already at the highest stage. Unfortunately, Tang San shook his head. The beautiful silk tulip is considered an immortal treasure herb. There is perhaps only the one in the present age. There won't grow more than one in the same place. Perhaps there is still others on the continent, but I haven't found them if so. The one Rongrong has was my gift to her. How could I ask for compensation from Uncle? 5 million gold spirit coins is sufficient. However, I must make one thing clear. I am only in charge of the final assembly. For the intermediate component manufacturing I would ask Uncle Ning to find a way on your own. According to Rongrong, your school possesses specialized ironworkers, so this shouldn't be difficult. At the same time, along with your school's own blacksmiths forging components, in the future it will also be easy to replenish all kinds of hidden weapons supplies, especially crossbow bolts and steel needles and such things. While speaking, Tang San pulled out a pile of blueprints from 24 moonlit bridges, and after carefully looking them over he handed them to Ning Fengji. Silent sleeve dart, stomp crossbow and flying boot blade components can all be made. Watching Ning Fengji carefully accept the blueprints, the bone Douluo to the side couldn't help saying, "Kid, you really can do business. Without even making the components, you've really earned these 5 million gold coins too easily." Uncle Bone. Ning Fengji shook his head at Gu Rong, hinting he shouldn't be talkative. Right now Tang San didn't have too much interest in money, but rather hoped to even more quickly clarify his own identity. With a calm smile he said, "If Uncle Ning feels this price is too unreasonable, you can lower it. The price was proposed by you before. I have no complaints." Ning Fengji smiled slightly. "No need to lower it. Even though my words aren't precious like gold or jade, the 7 treasure-glazed tile school still has credit." Tang San nodded, saying, "Then this is settled. Uncle Ning, thank you for your assistance just now. If there's nothing else, I would like to go back and rest. Regarding the hidden weapons, please forge 100 sets of the hidden weapon components and deliver them here. After I've assembled them I will deliver them to you. For hidden weapons consumables you will have to create them on your own." Ning Fengji didn't keep him, and personally saw him out of the meeting room. At the same time he pressed a golden bright and dazzling card in his hand. Ning Fengji didn't say how much money was inside, only telling Tang San that it was a down payment. The rest would wait until after the hidden weapons were assembled and delivered. Looking at Tang San walking out, Gu Rong couldn't help frowning. Fengji, why would you promise so much? Even if our 7 treasure glazed tile school is wealthy, we still can't be spending like this. Ning Fengji delicately indicated the blueprints and said with a smile, "Don't worry, Uncle Bone. These blueprints Tang San gave me are extremely detailed. Not only do they mark the required materials, but still indicates the required component casting methods in detail. Moreover, there's no confusion about the order. All the components are classified by hidden weapon. There's no lack of skilled workers at our 7 treasure glazed tile school. Don't tell me we can't assemble them. It seems to me that 5 million gold spirit coins for buying this set of hidden weapons manufacturing blueprints isn't cheap. Taking a step back, even if we didn't have these hidden weapons blueprints, do you really think 5 million gold coins is enough to pay for that beautiful silk tulip immortal treasure herb?" Listening to Ning Fengji, Uncle Bone's expression eased, and he muttered, "If you count it like that, then it doesn't seem like a loss." Ning Rongrong to the side couldn't stand just listening. "Dad, Grandpa Bone, what are you scheming about my third brother?" Ning Fengji glared at Ning Rongrong. "Silly girl, don't call it scheming. As the 7 treasure glazed tile school master, everything Daddy does must be done with the school in mind. All right, you go back first. Continue cultivating properly at the academy." Ning Rongrong glared discontentedly at her dad, then gave the bone Douluo an appealing look. But this time the bone Douluo didn't help her, only showing her a meaningful expression, indicating she should leave first. After Ning Rongrong left the meeting room, the only 2 people remaining were Ning Fengji and Gu Rong. With Gu Rong's strength, it would be impossible for anyone to eavesdrop. "Fengji, what do you think of that kid? Is he really Tang Hao's son?" Gu Rong asked in a low voice. Ning Fengji nodded, saying, "Shouldn't be a mistake. The Clear Sky School's Clear Sky Hammer can't be imitated. According to what I know, there hasn't been any directly blood-related disciples who left the Clear Sky School in recent years. As a whole, they've kept a low profile. Only Tang Hao was unaccounted for. Besides, this child admits his father's name is Tang Hao. Going by his age, there isn't much discrepancy. I really hadn't expected Tang Hao to foster such an outstanding son after leaving the Clear Sky School." Gu Rong said with a wry smile, "How couldn't he be outstanding? After all, this child has Tang Hao and that woman as parents. This kid isn't just terrifyingly strong, his mind also isn't ordinary. By his appearance, he shouldn't have known about Tang Hao's identity. Under such circumstances, suddenly learning about it today and still managing to keep a cool head, this isn't something a 10-something years old child is capable of. With time, I'm afraid he will be another Tang Hao. Schoolmaster, isn't it?" At this, Gu Rong's expression turned severe, his right hand making a knife-like cutting gesture in front of him. "No," Ning Fengji resolutely rejected Gu Rong's proposal. "Uncle Bone, never say something like this again. Even though the Clear Sky School has always been placed above our 7 treasure glazed tile school, us 3 upper sects have always been like brothers. No matter the point of view, we can't harm this child. Even though even I can't guess what rate of development this child will be able to have in the future, judging by his twin spirits, perhaps, after several years he will also be a character like the Supreme Pontiff. To this child, even if we are unable to draw him into the school, we must still do everything in our power to make friends." Gu Rong, somewhat puzzled, said, "Why? Don't tell me we will watch such a threat mature. If in a few decades he also grows into a titled Douluo, the Clear Sky School will become a 3 Douluo sect. If this happens, then perhaps we will always be suppressed by them." Ning Fengji sighed. "What you say is admittedly true, but I must think of even more. Uncle Bone, you haven't left the school for a long time, and you've never cared for matters of the outside world. However, don't you feel that for the last 20 years the whole continent's spirit master world has been too quiet?" Gu Rong's expression changed slightly. "Schoolmaster, what do you mean?" Ning Fengji said, I still remember the rising winds and scudding clouds of the Spirit Master world in my youth. Seen and unseen struggles happening everywhere. But in the last 20 years struggles like these have practically disappeared. The whole continent, the Spirit Master world of the two great empires, is frightfully quiet. But I vaguely feel the signs of mountain rain on the wind. Perhaps, in just a few years, the Spirit Master world situation will change. Gu Rong, somewhat disbelieving, said, Fengji, aren't you being a bit paranoid? The continent's calm seems to me an inevitable trend. The Spirit Master world is mainly controlled in the hands of Spirit Hall and our 7 great schools, everyone minding their own business between each other, the majority of Spirit Masters attaching themselves within these two sides. Even if it wasn't these two sides, there's still the 2 great empires, or perhaps the kingdoms and duchies, for control. The whole situation would naturally stabilize. Would something still change in this? Ning Fengji laughed bitterly. If it's really like this, then that's naturally for the best. But I'm afraid it isn't so simple. I've already found some tiny hints, but I still can't be certain. Everything must still be handled carefully. But I can be certain that if anything changes in the continent, our 7 great schools must band together. I don't dare speak for the lower 4 sects, but our upper 3 sects have always been like brothers. As long as our relationship is stable, I won't fear a change in power on any one side. I am very optimistic of Tang San. I also believe that by using all of his capabilities and gifts, he will be an outstanding talent in this Spirit Master world before long. Looking at it, this child is a person who does not like being restrained, but his desire for fame and profit is very small. If not, he wouldn't have gifted those precious herbs to his companions. Regarding this child who could become an extremely strong person, we must only have a good relation with him, as in the future he could be of help to us. I even think that it would be a very good option if we can raise the importance of our 7 treasure glazed tile school by marriage. Related by marriage, but didn't Rongrong say that he already had a close female friend? Gu Rong said, puzzled. Ning Fengji smiled indifferently and said, regardless of how outstanding he may be, he is still only a child, and since he is a child, his will is far from being fixed. Who knows what will change in the future? Don't tell me that my girl is not suitable for him. This is still something to be taken up later. We must first look at this child's development in the next few years. If he is still able to keep up this rapid speed, I naturally will have measures for dealing with the situation. Uncle Bone, after we get back, you must not tell anyone the information you learned today, especially of the possibility of Tang San's Clear Sky School background. I really do not wish for members of Clear Sky School to look for him. Although Tang Hao left Clear Sky Academy, that place was still where he started. Even now, there is certainly no one who would say he isn't one of Clear Sky's pair of Douluos. If Tang San really returned to Clear Sky Academy, that could not be good. I know. Gu Rong nodded his head. He could see Ning Fengji still had some words in his heart that he had not said. However, these words were not important to him. It was only important for Ning Fengji, the helmsman of 7 Treasures Glazed Tile Pagoda Academy, to clearly see everything. When Tang San returned to the dormitory, he found that Oscar, Zhu Zhuqing, Ma Hongjun and Xiao Wu were all unexpectedly waiting for him here. Further, once he entered, Ning Rongrong had already ran in from behind him. Do you have something you want to ask me? Tang San's gaze swept over everyone, his face showing a trace of astrinagency. Oscar was the first to shake his head. I don't have anything to ask. Your own business is your own to deal with. I only know that you are the 3rd brother of the Shrek 7 devils. Ma Hongjun scratched his head. I still am not clear of what happened, so there is nothing to ask. On the other side, Zhu Zhuqing said, you also have not asked about our origins. Everyone has their own secrets which should be considered as their own private information. Xiao Wu immediately said, we are only concerned about you as a person. Everything else does not matter. By coming back safe and sound, we are all already relieved. Ning Rongrong angrily said, Xiao Wu, don't tell me that my father would harm little San. Let me tell you a secret. little San became rich. He sold my father 500 sets of hidden weapons with the total price ending up at about 5 million gold spirit coins. What? Oscar heard this and immediately jumped off the bed, his face excitedly looking at Ning Rongrong. Rongrong, where is the most expensive place in Heaven Do City? Ning Rongrong stared blankly. What are you going to do? Oscar pointed his finger at Tang San and said, obviously beating the local tyrant and dividing the land. Ning Rongrong laughed. If you plan on beating a tyrant, then you will have to wait a few days. Can't you see how tired third brother is? You should try and endure a spirit Douluo's power for that long. Oscar mischievously looked at Tang San. Anyways, he is in the same dorm as me so he cannot run. Okay, since little San is tired, you should head back and let little San rest. One after another everyone nodded. Xiao Wu looked at Tang San with an extremely troubled expression. However, at the moment, Tang San's state of mind was extremely disordered and did not respond to her gaze. Once Oscar and the other left the dorm, the only one remaining was Tang San. Sitting on the bed, he felt the sunlight on his body bringing a sense of warmth, but his heart was still extremely confused. Father, where are you? Who can tell me what is going on? What everyone has said is so contradictory. If his father was born in Clear Sky School and even was one of Clear Sky School's 2 Douluos, then why did he degenerate into a drunkard? From childhood, he did not mention his information pertaining to his spirit. The only thing he left him was that simple forging skill and the disorder-splitting wind hammer method. His father had been missing for 8 years. What was he doing? Why is it that even now he hadn't come to find him? Titan, his strength clan, left the Clear Sky School for his father. From this it is possible to see that when his father left Clear Sky School, it was most likely that he had a disagreement with the school that made him leave. This disagreement was among the most important points. Where did this disagreement come from? How his mother also die? Perhaps all of these crucial points are all related to his mother. Alone in the silent room, Tang San slowly arranged all the information he learned today in his head and gradually made an outline. However, at the moment, it was still impossible to make anything out of it and he was unable to figure out what the crucial point was. It was when Tang San was in the room racking his brains, when Oscar was carrying out one of the most important events of his lifetime. After exiting the dorm, Xiao Wu, harboring thoughts, went back to her room. Zhu Zhuqing went back to her daily cultivation and at Oscar's suggestion, Fatty also left. At the moment, there was only Oscar accompanying Ning Rongrong at her side. Rongrong, I did not realize that you would come back so quick. What are you going to do now? Oscar smiled while remarking. Ning Rongrong was a bit at a loss and said, even I do not now. I feel like cultivating, but I cannot stop thinking. Father made me leave, so I do not know what he and Grandpa Bone are talking about. Perhaps they are still talking with Teacher Zhao. Is it bad that I came back so quick? Without the slightest hesitation, Oscar said, of course it's good. You don't know this, but when you left, I feared that your father would not let you come back. That certainly. What? Ning Rongrong stopped walking and somewhat suspiciously looked at Oscar. Before Ning Rongrong came back, Oscar had already summoned the courage, but right now in front of Ning Rongrong, looking at her pink small face, he did not know why, but all the courage had left him. Why don't you say it? A big boy shouldn't be this effeminate. Unable to bear it any longer, Ning Rongrong kicked Oscar. Oscar finally mustered the courage. Rongrong, can you give me an answer? Give you an answer? Ning Rongrong suddenly jumped, already conscious of what this was about. Females are inherently keen and are mature faster than men. Looking at Oscar's peach blossom eyes full of peculiarity, her heartbeat immediately sped up. That's right. Give me an answer. If not, I will also give up. Every day when we are together, we don't think of this. But when you left, although it was only for a day, I felt as if I was sitting on pins and needles. All I could think about was you. If there really will be a day when you leave my side, I don't know what I would become. It is better to just get the pain over with, rather than prolong the agony. If you don't have any feelings for me, then please reject me now. I know that the feeling of rejection will hurt me for a period of time, but it is still better than pain for all my life. Listening to Oscar, Ning Rongrong couldn't help but widen her eyes. She found that today's Oscar not only had worn a clean and tidy shirt, but also had shaved his beard to make it neat. Although those peach blossom eyes expressed seriousness, they also gave people a feeling of being dazzled and stunned. His handsome face couldn't help but resonate within her heart. Why are you talking about this? Right now we are still young. Ning Rongrong, somewhat in a state of panic, lowered her head, refusing to look at Oscar's gaze. Her heart and mind were like deer colliding, and for a moment she did not know what to do. Oscar raised his hands and grabbed Ning Rongrong's slender shoulders. Rongrong, look at me. All I need is an answer. No matter what the answer is, I can handle it. If we really wait until we are older, I'm afraid I will not be able to handle it then. It would appear that he gave Ning Rongrong a very easy choice: receive my intentions, or reject my intentions. But Ning Rongrong's heart was already confused and disordered, so much that it was even more so that Tang San's. Feeling Oscar's presence, she really could not reject him, but at the same time, she also could not say yes. She knew that although her father doted on her, as well as 2 grandpas protecting her, when it came to family customs, her father would not give leeway. Your heart still has a place for me, right or wrong. Looking at Ning Rongrong's both welcoming and refusing demeanor, Oscar could not help but blurt out. Ning Rongrong wished she could reject Oscar. Looking at it logically, she knew that there was no way she could be with him, but when she looked at the fiery gaze Oscar's peach blossom eyes emitted, her spirit felt it was comforted and she was unable to refuse him. Rongrong, your heart still has a place for me, right or wrong. If you don't say anything, then it could be a yes, but it could also be a no. Fine, I won't force you. I won't force you. Right now I am still young. All you have to do is let me know that I still have a chance. That much is enough. Don't worry, I will try my best. Although I don't have any background, I will definitely rely on my own effort to earn your father's approval and let him marry you to me. Volume 12. A Hammer Called Clear Sky. Chapter 80. Mystery of Twin Spirits. After speaking, Oscar sharply pulled Ning Rongrong's little hand to his face and kissed it hard, then with a face full of excitement turned around and ran, disappearing in an eye blink. What about acquiescence? Ning Rongrong looked stupidly at Oscar's departing silhouette, feeling the remainder of his heat on the back of her hand. For a moment she couldn't help being somewhat silly. She knew that he indeed had a place in her heart, only this place was unstable for all kinds of reasons. Seeing Oscar's incomparable excitement as he left, Ning Rongrong's heart couldn't help gradually thawing, his joy completely infecting her. It was the first time in her life that Ning Rongrong felt that burning feeling. Rongrong, why are you here? At this moment, a familiar voice came from another direction, rousing Ning Rongrong from her sluggishness. As she turned to look, she saw Ning Fengji and Gu Rong leaving the school building accompanied by Zhao Wuji. Ning Rongrong jumped with fright, hastily moderating her expression. Daddy, are you leaving? Ning Fengji nodded. There are still a lot of school matters for Daddy to deal with. You must listen to the teachers here and work hard at cultivation. Daddy hopes that when we meet again, you will still be able to surprise Daddy. Teacher Zhao, I will leave Rongrong to your academy. If in the future your academy has need of anything, the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School won't shirk its responsibilities. Ning Fengji's promise could be said to be more useful than any title Douluo, even though Zhao Wuji was also proud and untamed. In front of Ning Fengji he still restrained himself. School Master Ning, don't worry. We will certainly take good care of Rongrong. You take care. Finished speaking, Zhao Wuji turned around and headed into the academy, very tactfully leaving some private space for Ning Fengji and his daughter. Ning Fengji raised his hand to stroke his daughter's head. Rongrong, why is your face so red? You're not ill. Lightly feeling his daughter's cheek, he discovered Ning Rongrong's face wasn't just red, but also burning hot. Ning Rongrong hastily pulled down her father's hand. It's nothing. I'm very well. Daddy, You're not staying a while. Ning Fengji smiled slightly, saying, silly girl, you'll soon be 14, and a big young lady. Study properly at the academy, this time your studies have made Daddy very satisfied. Not only has your strength grown, even more importantly you've clearly learned a lot about manners. Later you should stick close to your third brother. Tang San is a rare talent, you should be able to learn a lot from him. Ning Rongrong followed her father and the bone Douluo's departure with her eyes, then slowly walked back into the academy. After thinking for a long while, she still decided to find Oscar to make things clear. At least she had to let him know about her school's rules. He was right, it was better to just get painful things over with. No matter how, she couldn't bring harm to his future feelings. Thinking of this, Ning Rongrong walked back into the academy with big strides, going straight for the dorms. As a result of Oscar's food system spirit, the dining hall was the most suitable for his mimicry cultivation environment. As Ning Rongrong reached the dining hall, she happened to find Oscar already having started cultivation in a corner of the hall. From Oscar's expression she could see an unprecedented focus. Even if she was immature in sensing feelings, it was still clear that Oscar's concentration was because of her. That moment, Ning Rongrong couldn't help being a bit despondent. If she told him about the school rules right now, wouldn't he choose to abandon himself to despair? If he did, wouldn't she be causing him harm? He was also a genius spirit master. Even if she couldn't be together with him in the future, she still couldn't let him waste it. Forget about it, we'll talk later. Thinking of this, Ning Rongrong inwardly loosed a breath. In the deepest recesses of her heart, she actually didn't want to reject Oscar. Only not even she herself had a clear grasp on her heart. Ning Rongrong secretly decided to wait until they had cultivated to become high-level spirit masters before talking to Oscar about this. Life at the academy once again resumed its normal pace along with the vigorous god and 7 treasure-glazed tile school master Ning Fengji's departure, only leaving a lot of rumors. Tang San, Ning Rongrong and the others undoubtedly became targets the students fell over each other to talk about. Even the advanced class especially received the teacher's attention. Starting from the day after Tai Tan recognized Tang San's identity, there was one more person at Tang San's side, Tai Long. Every day as soon as Tang San appeared, Tai Long would immediately follow at his side. His reasoning was very simple. Tai Tan had made him Tang San's bodyguard, as Tang San's attendant. Regarding this bit, Tang San was very disapproving. But Tai Long so insisted on following him every day he didn't have a way to stop him. He couldn't just give him another beating. And the expression on Tai Long's face clearly told him, either you kill me, or you let me follow. Helplessly, the former Blue Tyrant Academy chief was reborn as Tang San's shadow. Besides, when Tang San was cultivating, he followed even when he ate or went to the lavatory, what is called skin-tight protection. After 5 days, Tang San's long-awaited grandmaster, Flender, Lu Erlong and Dai Mabai finally returned. Dai Mabai seemed to be in glowing spirits. His entire body seemed to have become a bit taller, simultaneously domineering and threatening, also even more conspicuously steady. His atmosphere was reserved. Even without sensing his true nature, each of the Shrek 7 devils knew that this boss had clearly increased his strength. Little San, thank you. On seeing Tang San, Dai Mabai immediately gave him a bear hug. Fortunately, Tang San's body was also sturdy, and this excited embrace didn't manage to break any bones. Oscar to the side laughed up his sleeve, saying, Boss Dai, I didn't expect you would swing that way. I thought you'd hug Zhuqing. Dai Mabai glared at him, saying, Little Ao, do you need a spanking? I haven't seen you for a few days and you seem to have become very uppity. While speaking, at the same time his gaze fell on Zhuqing out of the corner of his eyes. Zhuqing was still cold. It seemed that Dai Mabai's returning or not returning was completely unrelated to her. This couldn't help but give a great break to Dai Mabai's good mood. I hugged Little San because Little San helped me. After obtaining a spirit ring, I can feel how much my spirit power has increased. My spirit power is now already at the 43rd rank. From 40th to 43rd rank, while it would appear to be only 2 ranks when including the assistance of the spirit ring, you all know that the later the increase, the more tremendous the spirit power requirements for each rank. This is already more than I had imagined. Even more crucially, right now I can clearly feel how the power has increased in all 4 limbs. Moreover, the energy channels within my body are wider and more flexible than before. This is all the result of that singular velvet sky chrysanthemum. Listening to Dai Mabai speak, everyone nodded one after the other. Besides Xiao Wu, who hadn't received any immortal treasure herb benefits from the yearning heartbroken red, the others had all received enormous assistance from the precious herbs Tang San gave them. Dai Mabai grinned, saying, "Everyone must also work hard. Right now your levels are already no longer low. We can't fail to live up to the essence of heaven and earth Little San provided us. In this time before the Advanced Spirit Master Academy Grand Competition begins, you must do your utmost to reach the 40th rank. Then we will have an even firmer grasp on a good result. We have only one goal, champions. Other positions are basically insignificant to us Shrek 7 devils. We must let the whole continent's Spirit Master Academies know that we are monsters from the Monster Academy." Dai Mabai pumped up everyone on this side, while on the other side, Zhao Wuji gave Flender's trio a rundown of everything that had happened since they left. Listening to Zhao Wuji, Grandmaster immediately stood up. "I must find Little San for a chat. His cultivation can't be influenced by his past." Lu Erlong was just about to say something, but was stopped by a look from Flender. She only watched Grandmaster leave the room with quick steps, heading for the student dormitories. "Boss Fu, you say Xiao Gang isn't slow-witted, so why is he still like before? I feel like meeting him again is even more painful than when I didn't see him." Lu Erlong said somewhat bitterly. Since Tang San had been kidnapped by the poisoned Douluo and the 3 had been unable to rescue him, almost getting killed by the poisoned Douluo and returning to the academy, Grandmaster had returned to usual, neither close nor distant to Lu Erlong. Whenever Lu Erlong would painstakingly get close to him, he would always find some reason to dodge. Basically, without the chance to get close to him, Lu Erlong was getting depressed. Flender said with a wry smile, "Do you still not understand Xiao Gang's character? As long as his heart doesn't split open, he will always be like this. I think it would be better to work on Tang San a bit. Right now in Xiao Gang's heart, the most important is perhaps he. If he spoke to Xiao Gang, it would be more effective than anything you or I said." Lu Erlong's eyes brightened. "I'll try it. Only, I'm afraid it'll still be difficult. I understand Xiao Gang. Unless he comes around to it on his own, it'll be difficult for what others say to have any effect." At the student dorms, without entering the room, Grandmaster heard the voices of the Shrek 7 devils chatting. Opening the door, he first knocked before entering. On seeing Grandmaster, the old traumatic experiences made everyone hastily stand up. The impression that demonic training had left on him was really too profound. Besides respecting Grandmaster, they were still somewhat fearful. Of course, it was also unavoidable that they would admire him. Despite Grandmaster lacking strength, his tactical directions to them were really incomparable. Following Grandmaster's cultivation, everyone had made twice the progress for half the effort. "Little San, come with me a moment." Grandmaster waved his hand, indicating everyone sit while he called out Tang San alone. Tang San hastily got up, following Grandmaster outside. Grandmaster brought him straight to his own residence in the dorms, shutting the door tight, gesturing for Tang San to sit in the sofa. Grandmaster's room was clearly incomparable to those of the students. Lu Erlong had given the room she previously used as dean directly to him. Not only was the room enormous, moreover the decorations were brimming with nostalgic sentiments and bright glass, giving it a kind of extremely comfortable feeling. "Teacher, what do you want to know?" Tang San sat on the sofa, the expression in his eyes absent-minded. Even though no one else had bothered him over these few days, the question of his past still troubled his heart, to the extent that he didn't even cultivate as focused as before. He also didn't dare force himself. If by any chance he accidentally made a mistake, the gains wouldn't make up for the losses. Grandmaster nodded. I already know, or should I say, I already knew long ago. What? Tang San sharply looked up, looking at his teacher with shock. Grandmaster walked over to sit in front of Tang San. You needn't be astonished. Listen to what I have to say. Do you still remember at Nuoding Academy? After you had just come to Nuoding Academy, I took you on as a disciple. That was because I saw the natural aptitude of your twin spirits. But at that time I also didn't notice that your other spirit was the Clear Sky Hammer. Until one day, when your father personally came to find me. And gave me this. While speaking, light flashed in Grandmaster's hand, and an ordered tile appeared from his spirit tool. On the ordered tile was carved 6 vivid and lifelike designs, and although the colors weren't eye-catching, Tang San knew from Grandmaster's previous explanations that this was the highest insignia of Spirit Hall. Only Spirit Hall elders or higher could possess it, second only to the Supreme Pontiff's authority. Grandmaster said, at that time I recognized your father's identity. He is brilliant and famous all over the continent. He's also my idol, the youngest title Douluo, Tang Hao. Your father's title is simply, Clear Sky. Clear Sky. Clear Sky Douluo. Others might deceive him, but Tang San knew that Grandmaster never would. At this very moment he could at least be certain his father wasn't an ordinary person. Moreover, he was still a peak existence in the Spirit Master world. Grandmaster continued, I don't know your father well. He only asked me to look after you carefully. On this order tile are altogether 6 emblems. Originally I told you that they each represent the 6 people who have made special contributions to Spirit Hall, or the identity of the 6 elders of Spirit Hall. You know, this order tile also has 6, and the 6 emblems are actually divided into 2 parts. The first part are the 3 title Douluo affiliated with Spirit Hall. The other part represents 3 title Douluo of the 3 upper sects of the 7 great schools. But these 3 title Douluo are also conferred the status of honorary elders by Spirit Hall. Tang San gazed at that ordered tile with rapt attention. The 6 designs on the ordered tile were separately sword, hammer, crown, an incomplete human shape, a dragon and a chrysanthemum. This ordered tile also has a symbolic name. It's called the Heaven Do 6 Emperors tile. The sword among them represents the 7 treasure-glazed tile schools sword Douluo Chen Xin, but his part on this ordered tile is actually considered belonging to the 7 treasure-glazed tile school, controlled by the school master Ning Fengji you met a few days ago. The dragon. It represents the clan I was born from, Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon, controlled by my father. And the hammer represents the Clear Sky clan's Clear Sky Hammer. And the person who controls it is your father, and not the present Clear Sky School Master Tang Qian. Clear Sky School is a 2 Douluo sect. Tang Qian and Tang Hao are brothers, who once made the whole Spirit Master world tremble. Tang Qian is your father's eldest brother. Compared to your father, he's more than 15 years older. At 60, he smoothly broke through the 90th rank, entering the title Douluo realm. And when your father reached title Douluo was still 13 years ago. He was no more than 44. Therefore I can say, he is the world's youngest title Douluo, and also my idol. Tang San's heart twitched. 13 years ago, isn't that when I was born? Grandmaster looked distracted a moment. Yes, it should be the year you were born. Your father surmounted the pinnacle of the Spirit Master world. Moreover, it is rumored that he relied on his just having entered the 90th rank strength to consecutively defeat Spirit Hall's 2 title Douluo, precisely those who are represented by the chrysanthemum and human shape on this tile. They are respectively Chrysanthemum Douluo and Ghost Douluo. You should know that they had both been famous for many years already, and their strength had already broken through the 95th rank. But they were still unable to withstand the might of your father's Clear Sky Hammer. Even though I couldn't see the fight with my own eyes, just imagining it makes my blood boil. Why would Dad fight 2 title Douluo in succession? Tang San couldn't help asking. Grandmaster shook his head. This I don't know, not many do. This is apparently a secret between Clear Sky School and Spirit Hall. After that fight your father disappeared, and the Clear Sky School restrained their voice, hiding their identity as the present age's #1 Spirit Master School. Even though they still retain their title as the #1 school, some emerging Spirit Masters aren't well acquainted with the Clear Sky School. When your father reappeared once again, it was also 6 years later in front of me. I'm not too clear on the internal matters of the Clear Sky School. I've only vaguely heard that the relationship between your father and your eldest uncle isn't particularly harmonious. But before his great battle with two-titled Douluo, he had already left the Clear Sky School. Tang San looked stupidly at Grandmaster. For a moment unable to speak a word, he seemed completely at a loss, his eyes already turning somewhat red. From his father visiting Grandmaster, and from him giving Grandmaster such an important Heaven Do 6 Emperor's tile, he could see how much his father valued him. How he loved him. His departure was perhaps for lack of a better choice. Perhaps he had a lot of matters to deal with. But, Dad, why didn't you come back to see me? Grandmaster said, Little San, don't think too much. In some sense, perhaps your father never left your side. Tang San stared blankly. Why? Grandmaster's face suddenly revealed an eccentric smile. Do you still remember what happened just when you entered Shrek Academy? Tang San puzzled shook his head. Grandmaster said, I also actually heard this from Flender. At that time, because Zhao Wuji's hands were itching, he personally examined you children, and you used hidden weapons to greet him, and he himself suffered injuries, right? Tang San nodded. Grandmaster smiling said, but you didn't discover that afterwards Zhao Wuji had changed somewhat. Tang San thought hard, but because of the matter with his father his mind was in disorder, and for the moment he couldn't remember the circumstances of that time. Grandmaster said, don't tell me you forgot that the next day Zhao Wuji had a bloody nose. Flender said that the evening Zhao Wuji suffered from your hidden weapons, a black-clothed man suddenly appeared, drawing Zhao Wuji out of the academy. Afterwards, he gave Zhao Wuji a beating empty-handed. When Flender caught up he didn't dare interfere, because that person didn't even release his spirit to beat up Zhao Wuji. You should know that Zhao Wuji possesses 76 ranks of spirit power. Being able to knock him down without using spirit power, what kind of terrifying strength would that require? And that person was your father. You mean, Dad came to see me? Tang San stood up sharply, so moved his body trembled slightly. Grandmaster said with a nod, yes, but this was more than a year ago. He came to see you, but he didn't meet you. If I surmise correctly, not meeting you was because he didn't want to influence your cultivation, or another reason is perhaps because he was afraid that after meeting you he wouldn't want to leave. I believe he certainly has some matters he must deal with, and as a result he isn't willing to meet you. Dad came to see him, and even beat up teacher Zhao Wuji who injured him. Tang San's heart suddenly became scorching hot. When he had seen Tai Long's father Tai Nuo come to challenge him for the sake of his son, he didn't know how envious he had been. And now he found out that his father had done the same for him more than a year ago. That kind of proud and warm feeling made all the complaints he had stored up over the years quietly fade away. Grandmaster said, therefore I would say that your father might be at your side at any time. When he believes the time is right, he will naturally appear before you. Your family name is Tang, and you are directly blood-related to the Clear Sky School. Let me tell you this so you clearly understand, whether it's for you yourself, or for your father. Since you have chosen to walk the path of a spirit master, you cannot stop to rest. Perhaps, your father will also equally need your help, but if you're dispirited because of your past, and it influences your cultivation, how can you still help him in the future? Perhaps he won't blame you, but he will certainly be disappointed. You are the son of Clear Sky Douluo. You have inherited the blood of your father. You must use action and strength to prove to your father that you have the qualifications to help him. Perhaps your father is waiting for your strength to reach a certain level before he appears in front of you, who can say? From his birth until now, Tang San had been together with Grandmaster for longer than he'd been with his father. It could be said that Grandmaster and Xiao Wu were the people closest to him apart from his father. The past few days' bewilderment, contradictions, and complicated feelings were suddenly dispelled by these words from Grandmaster. Everything became completely clear before his eyes. Even if he himself could understand everything clearly right now, so what? With his present strength, there was basically nothing he could do. What he could do right now was work hard at cultivation, like Grandmaster said. Using action to prove himself to his father. Dad, have you always been watching over me in secret? Then fine, you wait and see, I definitely won't let you down. Seeing Tang San's expression change, Grandmaster couldn't help secretly nodding. He knew Tang San was smart. As soon as he woke up a bit he would understand. This was also Grandmaster's goal in calling him over. Grandmaster, I still have 2 questions. The light reappeared in Tang San's eyes, and he again recovered his usual quiet and contented ease. Grandmaster said, speak. Tang San said, the first question is, do you know who my mother was? Since I was born, I never met my mother, and father never spoke of her. I vaguely feel that father losing himself in shoddy alcohol for 6 years is very possibly related to my mother. Grandmaster nodded and said, you're right. Since you never saw your mother, it's very possible she was related to your father's depression. However, your mother's identity is even more mysterious. Let alone me. In the Spirit Master world there's no one who knows who she was. She apparently didn't belong to any of the great Spirit Master clans. This can be seen from your blue-silver grass. Blue-silver grass is the standard for waste spirits. In some sense, twin spirits is also a kind of spirit variation. Being able to allow 2 spirits to coexist will cause a certain harm to the Spirit Master's body, just like Ma Hongjun's previous evil fire would cause him complications. But strangely, the 2 spirits within you have never shown this kind of circumstances. Unusually harmonious together. Moreover, your blue-silver grass doesn't seem to have a difficult cultivation process. Your spirit power promotes very quickly. If saying your innate full spirit power was caused by your clear sky hammer, why would blue-silver grass cultivate so quickly? Even though you have twin spirits, it still shouldn't be the reason for this. Tang San didn't have anything to say to Grandmaster's questions. Even if he didn't know why his 2 spirits could coexist so tactfully, his spirit power was cultivated with the mysterious heaven skill method, seemingly unrelated to his spirits. However, Tang Sect inside knowledge couldn't be revealed to outsiders. Teacher, my second question is, why won't my father and you let me cultivate the clear sky hammer? According to what you said, the clear sky hammer should be a top-quality tool spirit. Clearly it should have even better prospects than cultivating blue-silver grass. My father also became famous with it. Don't tell me it's in order to hide that I come from Clear Sky School. Hearing this question from Tang San, Grandmaster couldn't help but show a smiling expression. This question is very simple. Whether your father or me, it's all for your own good. It's not to conceal your identity, but rather to let you become even stronger in the future. Tell me, what is the greatest advantage of twin spirits? The abilities of 2 spirits. 1 spirit can at most only have 9 spirit rings, that's also 9 abilities. But I have 2 spirits, so it's 18 abilities. Grandmaster's brows furrowed. Foolish kid, fortunately you have me to learn from. Why can't you still see it clearly? Correct. After twin spirits have cultivated to the title Douluo realm, they can indeed possess 18 spirit rings, 18 spirit abilities. But, you've forgotten, even though you have twin spirits, you can only use 1 spirit at a time. In other words, at most you can only use 9 spirit rings at the same time, that's all. Even though you can change a bit more than ordinary spirit masters, is this the mystery of twin spirits? Then you are underestimating the gift of twin spirits too much. A divine light came on in Tang San's mind. Teacher, you mean to say? Grandmaster nodded, saying, me and your father both advocating having you first cultivating your blue-silver grass, is because it's inferior to the clear sky hammer. The greatest advantage of twin spirits is the ability to first cultivate 1 spirit. Even though your clear sky hammer doesn't have any spirit rings at present, your spirit power has already reached the 37th rank. Think about it. If you right now began to add spirit rings to your clear sky hammer, then what level of spirit rings would that be? 1000 year. If your blue-silver grass first reaches the titled Douluo level, then you add spirit rings to the clear sky hammer. What level then? Me and your father's goal is to create an unimaginable existence with all spirit rings over 10,000 years. But these circumstances can only appear with a spirit master with twin spirits. Your other spirit is blue-silver grass. I don't expect you to cultivate to the 90th rank, but as long as you can cultivate to the 60th rank or higher, then, in the future it will be possible to create an all 10,000-year spirit ring clear sky hammer. At that time, let alone a titled Douluo, even two at once, how might they be your opponents? Equally at the 90th rank, relying on your 9-10,000-year spirit rings to add all sorts of attributes, how could an ordinary spirit master compare? This is our true goal. Tang San's eyes shone. He had used the clear sky hammer once. At that time he had relied on it without any spirit rings to successfully attack the man-faced demon spider. The clear sky hammer's weight was so frightful, and all this was because it was in itself a tyrannical existence. Grandmaster looked at Tang San, saying, "Right now my sole worry is whether your two spirits will come into conflict when you start adding spirit rings to the clear sky hammer. In Spirit Master history, you are the third person to possess twin spirits. We're not the only smart people, and if we've thought of something, then others have thought of it too. The first Spirit Master to possess twin spirits came to an extremely miserable end. When he added spirit rings to his second spirit, after adding the third, the two spirits came into conflict, bursting his body. But the second person to possess twin spirits was successful, becoming a power unprecedented in history. In other words, according to this cultivation method with twin spirits, the probability of success is 50%. Perhaps your odds are a bit higher. After all, even until now your clear sky hammer and blue-silver grass haven't shown any signs of conflict. I've been constantly researching this question over these years, how to add spirit rings to your clear sky hammer in the future so that they don't come into conflict. Not letting people know about the twin spirits is out of fear that some formidable spirit master will take a detrimental interest in you. Having you first cultivate blue-silver grass is a method to let you become even stronger. Now you understand. As for what to choose in the future, that is up to you." Under Grandmaster's detailed explanation, Tang San couldn't help but feel a completely new awareness of his twin spirits. "Teacher, then having me temper my body, isn't that also because of the twin spirits? When blue-silver grass gains spirit rings, it would somewhat improve my body, like strength, agility, and endurance. And after I add spirit rings to the clear sky hammer, won't these circumstances appear again? In other words, my body's attributes can at most increase by 18 spirit rings. Although these attributes aren't much compared to spirit abilities, accumulating his many is still extremely frightful." Grandmaster nodded, saying, "That's right, this is also a point that worries me. Increasing all kinds of attributes is of course a good thing to spirit masters. But, as attributes strengthen past a certain degree and the body is unable to endure, it will turn from benefit to disaster. That's why I would have you toughen your physique. After you ate those two kinds of extreme immortal treasure herbs this time, it seems your body has improved not insignificantly. Right now I can be certain that in the future when you add spirit rings to the clear sky hammer, at least the first 3 spirit rings won't cause you too much of a burden. As for the others, it will depend on the circumstances. If it's really no good, we will use a kind of special method to distribute these properties." "How to distribute spirit ring properties?" Tang San inquisitively asked. Grandmaster pointed at Tang San's back, saying, "You've forgotten, you still have that external spirit bone. As your strength reaches a certain level, it's best to possess 2 more spirit bones, and as your body is unable to support the properties from the spirit rings, these will be distributed into the spirit bones within you. Like this, the pressure you endure yourself will become smaller. The problem is, once people learn about it, people wanting to kill you by breaking the spirit bones within you will perhaps increase. Right now your twin spirits still haven't formed, few people know about it, and it's still not considered a problem. As for later, it's hard to say. Therefore, it's for this reason I will continue to remind you that unless your life is in danger, you definitely mustn't easily reveal your clear sky hammer. In another half year it will be the Advanced Spirit Master Academy Grand Competition. I will remind you once again that in this Spirit Master Grand Competition you definitely mustn't use the clear sky hammer. Yes, teacher. Grandmaster softly patted Tang San's shoulder, as if the frustration faded away, saying, "Little San, I can understand your present frame of mind. But there's one point you must be clear on. Living in a great clan, especially a Spirit Master school, isn't as great as it appears. Restrictions and pressure from all sides, as well as secret internal struggles, there is no benefit to cultivation." Volume 12. A Hammer Called Clear Sky. Chapter 81. Co Wu, Ji, brush my hair. Grandmaster meaningfully and heartfelt said to Tang San, "Although you now know your identity as part of the Clear Sky School, I hope you will be able to keep a common heart. Don't lightly go looking for your school, also don't easily let out your thoughts. You can understand your teacher's painstaking efforts." Tang San nodded without the slightest hesitation. "Teacher, I understand. No matter what I do, I must have strength first. Before I believe I have sufficient strength, I won't lightly go looking for the Clear Sky School. I might say, I must at least wait until my father appears, before I might return to the school. Moreover, you should also know that I've always liked freedom. The life in a school doesn't seem to suit me. Actually, I'd rather be a blacksmith's son. To me, what's the point of status?" Grandmaster looked astonished at Tang San. After all, Tang San in his eyes still only a teenaged child. He hadn't expected this disciple of his to be able to see so deeply. His rigid face couldn't help revealing a smiling expression, and he once again patted Tang San's shoulder. "Words like these put my heart at ease. In another half year, the Advanced Spirit Master Academy Grand Competition will begin. This isn't only a stage to reveal you, it's also the ideal opportunity to gain experience. At this Continental Grand Competition, you will meet all the Spirit Master powers of your generation. Fighting him, vanquishing him, will not only promote your battle experience, at the same time it's also an opportunity to establish confidence. I've already talked it over with Flender. Once this time's Spirit Master Grand Competition is over, you children will graduate from the academy." "Graduate? Teacher, isn't it too early for this?" Tang San said, shocked. Grandmaster shook his head with a smile. "No, it's not early. At ordinary Advanced Spirit Master Academies you can already graduate when your strength reaches 30 ranks, moreover be considered a first-rate student. But right now you're not just at the 30th rank. Even from the point of view of the Shrek Academy, I think that after you've participated in this grand competition, you should have reached the 40th rank or so. Little San, the academy isn't everything. To your lives, cultivating at the academy is only one stage. Even more important is to temper yourselves in the outside world. That is the battlefield of your true test. Whether it is last life or this one, Tang San didn't have too many experiences with society, but as he saw the certain gaze in Grandmaster's eyes, he knew Grandmaster's judgment wasn't mistaken. Perhaps it was because he had never stayed in the outside world. To the possible unknowns, in his heart was still some amount of fear. Of course, right now wasn't the time to reflect on this. Tang San naturally also didn't expect that when he truly left for the outside world, it would already be 6 years later. Leaving Grandmaster's office, that kind of flash of insight feeling made Tang San's heart indescribably free from worry. He had already again found his purpose in life. What about being descended from a school? What about father being a titled Douluo? All of that was after all not him. He only had to first make himself become strong. This was meaningful. Tang San already thought very clearly, at his current age, without anything more important than cultivation, all his physical and mental efforts should naturally be focused on this, and not on flights of fancy. From this point on, whether it was Tang San or the other Shrek 7 devils, they all entered half a year of arduous cultivation. Grandmaster didn't conduct any more special training with him. only regularly giving them tactics guidance, especially to their mutual teamwork, as well as how to use their own spirit abilities even more effectively. It would appear that everyone had their own spirit abilities, they only had to use them fully. But in fact, within this was contained enormous knowledge. Fully using any spirit ability at any time, fully using any spirit ability under any spirit power situation. Each circumstance held profound hidden theory, but Grandmaster had expended several decades on researching just this field. Under his guidance, the Shrek 7 devils could be said to walk countless steps along a winding road. Just like Tang San said when he presented everyone with the immortal treasure herbs, the medicinal effect wouldn't just show at the time they took them. Along with their unceasing cultivation, apart from Xiao Wu who hadn't used the yearning heartbroken red, each person felt their bodies changing. Not only did their spirit power growth rate become even faster than before, even more significant was the immortal treasure herbs' transformation of their spirits and bodies. Tang San chose the herbs very carefully, and practically all were the ones that suited each person best. Imperceptibly influencing them under their constant cultivation, the heaven and earth power contained within the herbs gradually fused with their bodies, making their comprehensive strength grow. Even the 9 treasure purple zoysia that wasn't considered a real immortal treasure still assisted Grandmaster. In that brief half-year his spirit power went from 30th rank to the 35th rank. And everyone in the Shrek 7 devils, making use of this half-year, besides Dai Mabai's spirit power which only rose 1 rank and a half, reaching the 44th and close to the 45th rank, of the remaining 6 only Xiao Wu didn't reach the 40th rank bottleneck. The first person to break through the 40th rank bottleneck was someone everyone felt was unexpected. Against everyone's expectations it wasn't Zhu Zhuqing who had already reached the 38th rank when taking the immortal treasure herb, or the most assiduously cultivating, intrinsically differently talented Tang San. Taking everyone aback, the first of the 6 to break through the 40th rank was the least adept at cultivating food system Spirit Master Oscar. When he had cultivated for 4.5 months he successfully broke through the bottleneck, just stepping on the threshold to the 40th rank, only requiring a spirit ring to formally go from Spirit Elder to Spirit Ancestor. Others might not know about Oscar's hard work, but Tang San understood clearly. Even though Tang San didn't know what had happened, since the time Ning Rongrong returned from her clan, Oscar's cultivation was a lot more diligent than before. Previously Oscar was most addicted to sleeping, but in these few months Tang San hadn't seen him sleeping once, even so that he rarely returned to the dorm, every day painstakingly cultivating his spirit in the dining hall that suited his cultivation best. His strength being able to promote this quickly was admittedly related to the 8-petal immortal orchid, but his great efforts and invested energy also finally had a conclusive effect. After 5 months of cultivation, Zhu Zhuqing also broke through the 40th rank, and after 2 days Tang San broke through. In another 10 days, Ma Hongjun and Ning Rongrong also successively broke through the bottleneck. So far, besides Xiao Wu who hadn't taken the immortal treasure herb, the strength of the other 6 Shrek 7 devils had all reached the 40th rank stage. In Grandmaster's amassed theory, breaking through the bottleneck didn't necessarily require first going to get a spirit ring. Continued cultivation would still accumulate spirit power that would be released when a spirit ring was obtained. As a result of everyone's spirit power being close, Grandmaster decided that after everyone had reached the 40th rank they would again go hunt spirit beasts. Of course, they couldn't wait for Xiao Wu, and as everyone reached the 40th rank, because she hadn't taken the immortal treasure herb, she was still at the 37th rank and attacking the 38th. To reach the 40th rank would still require at least another half-year. Tang San had on a few occasions advised Xiao Wu to take the yearning heartbroken red, but Xiao Wu still wasn't willing, and would keep the yearning heartbroken red at her side every day, regarding it as indescribably precious. But that yearning heartbroken red was also very strange. Without any nutrients or moisture, following at Xiao Wu's side, it could unexpectedly absorb the strength of heaven and earth on its own, not only without any signs of wilting, but on the contrary becoming even more brightly colored and alluring, reflecting dazzlingly on Xiao Wu. That seemingly delicate sprig and petals was even more durable than any metal, making people click their tongues in wonder. In this half-year, Tang San also completed his agreement with the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. The 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School's financial resources were indeed formidable. In barely half a year they had manufactured the required components, and following Tang San's assembly had completely outfitted the directly related disciples of the school, and furthermore kept some remaining ones stored in reserve. It was also because he had to spend time on making these things that Tang San's cultivation was slower than Oscar and Zhu Zhuqing, making him the 3rd person to break through the 40th rank. In this period of time, there was still one small interlude. After Ning Fengji brought back the blueprints, he ordered his subordinate craftsmen to manufacture and research them, even using the finished goods to compare. But no matter how they tried, they were still unable to make even one hidden weapon. Even if those finished hidden weapons were dismantled to their components, the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School craftsmen still couldn't think of a way to fit him together. Helplessly, in the end they could only leave the final assembly to Tang San. Even though this still couldn't be considered a loss to the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School, it was still somewhat embarrassing for Ning Fengji. How could he know that Tang San used manufacturing skills that had been developed by the Tang Sect over centuries? How couldn't the Tang Sect fear that others would counterfeit the sect's hidden weapons? Everything they manufactured would contain some special skill that only Tang Sect's disciples knew, just like a passcode existing for each hidden weapon. As long as no code was leaked by mistake, it would be impossible to reveal the secrets of the hidden weapon making. This was a major reason why Tang San could completely at ease hand over the blueprints to Ning Fengji. At nightfall, in a rare moment when Tang San wasn't cultivating, sitting in front of the log cabin, leaning against the cottage and gazing up at the points of starlight in the night sky. As a plant system spirit master, his mimicry cultivation naturally had to be made among plants, and the secluded wooden cottage that was originally Lu Erlong's dwelling was considered Tang San's. Tang San quite liked the environment here. Cultivating here was not only quiet, that fresh and clean air and the fragrance released by the plants was even more what he liked the most. Xiao Wu sat next to Tang San, her feet swinging slightly, both hands resting on the logs they sat on, raising her face. The light of the moon and stars made her even more conspicuously charming. In the past half-year, the high-intensity cultivation and abundant food made all the Shrek 7 devils just in their period of development change somewhat. Tang San's height already surpassed Xiao Wu slightly, reaching close to 1.80 meters or so. Xiao Wu was also the tallest of the 3 girls, reaching an astonishing 1.75 meters. But by now Tang San had only just passed his 14th birthday, and Xiao Wu was still some ways off. Tang San's shoulders were somewhat wider than before, overall still appearing ordinary, his expression reserved. If the Shrek 7 devils walked together he would absolutely attract the least attention. Dai Mabai frequently teased him, saying the most unremarkable was the most dangerous. Xiao Wu's growth rate had already slowed down, and in the last 2 months she had no longer grown in height. Her scorpion braids still hung down to her calves. Perhaps she had been influenced by Ning Rongrong, but her skin had become even more exquisite, and some places exclusive to girls had begun to develop. What attracted the most attention was still her long legs, perfectly round and perfectly straight, without the slightest flaw to be found. Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zhuqing were both equally beautiful, but they also both envied Xiao Wu's legs. The 3 girls each had their own characteristics. If saying Xiao Wu previously was slightly inferior to Zhu Zhuqing and Ning Rongrong in appearance, then in this past half-year she had become prettier, not only catching up to the other 2, but even slightly overtaking them. But because they were together every day, no one had a very strong impression of this. Xiao Wu, it's late, go back and rest. We'll set out tomorrow. Tang San bumped Xiao Wu at his side with his shoulder. Xiao Wu nodded softly, picking up that yearning heartbroken red from her thighs. Looking at the brilliantly colored petals, She brought it to her mouth to kiss it gently, smelling that faint fragrance only she could perceive. Gee, I still haven't reached the 40th rank. Aren't you very disappointed? Tang San smiled slightly. Why would I? Your cultivation speed is already faster than I imagined. If everyone didn't eat immortal treasure herbs, perhaps your cultivation speed would even surpass me. Let alone the others. Xiao Wu, cultivation must be done step by step, shortcuts can't be taken with undue haste. Otherwise would be no good. If by chance you took a misstep out of impetuousness, that would be greatly troubling. You must remember your big brother's words. You can't keep it on your mind by any means. By now our overall strength is already very powerful. You don't need to think of anything. Before long you will also be able to step on the goal line of the 40th rank. I can guarantee that if you agree to eat this yearning heartbroken red, then your spirit power will definitely be even higher than everyone's, reaching the highest stage among us. Xiao Wu giggled, jumping up. She said, "Don't worry, I won't drag everyone down." Gee, what spirit beast are you preparing to hunt this time? Tang San said, "Who can say? Even though I have a few choices, the concrete circumstances still depend on our luck. When we meet a spirit beast suitable to someone, that someone will kill it. The few of us all have dissimilar spirits, inevitably there will be something suitable." Xiao Wu nodded, saying, "I hope everyone will have good luck. Gee, can't you help me comb my hair? My hair is a bit messy." Tang San looked distracted. Comb your hair? This was the first time Xiao Wu had made such a request to him. But, you're going back to sleep. Won't your hair be messy anyway? Xiao Wu stuck out her tongue at Tang San. "You blockhead, after I return won't I cultivate straight till early morning?" While speaking, Xiao Wu pulled out a comb from her chest and handed it to Tang San. It was a wooden comb, seemingly very simple. But the wood was exceptionally good, the grain on the deep purple wood extremely exquisite, fitting well in the hand and tough and durable. A trace of faint wood fragrance rose from it. If it wasn't for Tang San having purple demon eye to clearly see details in the darkness, he would also have thought this comb was black. Tea was also just because he was unable to find any flaw in the wood even with his purple demon eye at the mustard seed stage that he was astonished. "The wood of this comb is amazing," Tang San couldn't help saying. Xiao Wu nodded. There seemed to be something in her eyes. "My mom gave it to me. It was made by her personally, carved from first-rate red sandalwood. Even though it doesn't have any decorations, this is still the last thing Mom left me." Tang San had never heard Xiao Wu mention her family, and now suddenly hearing her speak of her mother, his heart skipped a beat. When he looked at her, in her beautiful eyes he could clearly see something sparkling and translucent. Xiao Wu raised her scorpion braid, untying the lowest pink ribbon, her eyes all along attentively watching Tang San, left hand supporting her braid, right hand little by little combing it out, using 5 fingers to separate the originally braided black hair, gradually spreading like a black waterfall. Enveloped in the light from the moon and the stars, watching that braid come undone over Xiao Wu's shoulder, Tang San's gaze couldn't help being somewhat stupid. Right now Xiao Wu was truly beautiful. The moon and the stars seemed to become a backdrop for her, only she was at the center of this painting. Xiao Wu looked deeply at Tang San, and along with her braid dispersing slowly turned around. As the last tangles came undone, with a slight shake of her head, that supple black waterfall shook out, unexpectedly completely sheltering her delicate body. The long hair like black satin hung all the way to the ground, at least one chi stroking the logs underfoot. Right now Xiao Wu seemed to blend into the darkness, and from Tang San's perspective, he could only see that moving black. Perhaps it was because it had been too long since the hair had been combed, but when the long hair separated it took on a wavy shape, swaying slightly as Xiao Wu moved. "Xiao Wu, you really are beautiful," Tang San couldn't keep himself from blurting out. Xiao Wu's back was to Tang San, but in her eyes teardrops were quietly falling, because she thought of her mother. "Gee, comb my hair." Xiao Wu's voice was very soft, with a slight tremble, also a trace of fear and expectation. She waited quietly. Tang San came to himself, and quietly walked forward, as if afraid to startle the black waterfall under the light of the moon and the stars, noiselessly reaching Xiao Wu's back. Left hand gently and carefully lifting Xiao Wu's long black hair, right hand stroking the red sandalwood comb, bit by bit combing through her hair. A faint fragrance came out, a fragrance Tang San felt was very familiar. It wasn't the smell of perfume, because Tang San knew that Xiao Wu had never needed such things. It was even less possible for it to be the fragrance of the yearning heartbroken red, because only Xiao Wu could perceive it. Right now, what kind of picture was this? A stunning young woman standing quietly in front of a log cabin, surrounded by that quiet forest, those bashful moon and stars in the sky, that young woman lightly clasping a flower in her hands, behind her a dim-witted youth, just using a deep purple comb to softly comb and gather her long soft hair. Tang San was silly, constantly repeating the motions of his hands. Xiao Wu was also silly, a sad past twinkling in her gaze. "Mom, this comb is so pretty. How can there be purple wood?" A charming voice echoed in the mountain forest. "Silly girl, Mom used red sandalwood to make this. Since you've already chosen, Mom will give this comb to you. In the future, if you find a man you truly love, then let him help you use this comb to comb your hair. A woman's hair can only be combed by one man in all her life. Mom will bless you, and hope that one day, you will find that man you can trust with your hair. Mom, you know, I already found him," revealing a smile on her tear-stained face, along with the man behind her back combing her hair. Her gaze turned to the bright moon. That shining bright moonlight seemed to be her mother's smile. Long hair being combed, soft light roaming, this moment, time seemed to stand still. Whether it was Tang San or Xiao Wu, neither wanted to break the tranquility. Early morning, Shrek Academy main gate. Flender, Lu Erlong, Zhao Wuji, and Grandmaster stood outside the academy gate, looking at the 7 children assembled before them with spirits trembling with excitement, hearts all brimming with pride. 40th rank. This was the boundary a spirit master had to reach before 30 years old or so, in order to be a spirit master of a certain talent. But of these children, the oldest was only 17. The youngest still wasn't 14. But they had already reached this stage. Admittedly, there had been some miracles on the way, but what was important was that these little monsters all had such astonishing talent. And as the ones who had unearthed them, how could Flender and the others not feel pride? Ning Rongrong bumped into Xiao Wu's back, saying in a low voice, "Xiao Wu, how come your braid is combed a little askew?" Xiao Wu's charming face blushed, and her glance unconsciously floated over to Tang San at her side. Tang San's hearing wasn't as good as his eyesight, but it still wasn't bad. Ning Rongrong stood next to him and Xiao Wu, and Tang San naturally heard her words. At the same moment he also awkwardly looked at Xiao Wu, and as the pair's eyes met in the air, they both couldn't help hastily moving apart. To the side Oscar spotted a clue. Lowering his voice, he said shocked, "No way, little San, you wouldn't." Tang San immediately interrupted him, "Less nonsense, it's not what you think." This morning he had with great difficulty persuaded Tai Long not to follow. Tai Long's cultivation speed was clearly inferior to theirs. By now he had just reached the 38th rank, still not the 39th. Moreover, Tai Long was after all not part of the Shrek 7 Devils. Even though he always followed his grandfather's instructions and considered himself Tang San's bodyguard, Tang San couldn't think of him like that. Even though he had cultivated in this half year and his time with Tai Long wasn't long, he had still given Tai Long some of the cultivation techniques Grandmaster had taught him. The relationship of the two changed from the previous rivals in love to become ordinary friends. Of course, it was already impossible for Tai Long to pay attention to Xiao Wu, let alone the change in Tang San's status. Even without this he understood that he would perhaps never be able to be Tang San's match. Xiao Wu also even more wouldn't choose him, let alone he. Practically every student at the Shrek Academy knew that the only woman in Tang San's eyes was Xiao Wu, and Xiao Wu also wouldn't encourage any other man. There were a lot of female students who had tried to approach Tang San, but been blocked by Xiao Wu. Even though Tang San knew about this, he never said anything. The two of them hadn't done anything in front of anyone that would establish a relationship as lovers, but the people at the academy had long ago already regarded him as such. Only the Shrek 7 devils knew that Tang San and Xiao Wu's relationship was pure and honest. Oscar immediately displayed an understanding appearance. It's not what I think, you needn't explain. Everyone understands. By now it wasn't just Oscar, but Dai Mabai, Ma Hongjun, and even Zhu Zhuqing all looked at them with strange gazes. Tang San couldn't help cursing, "You understand farting." As these words came out, everyone couldn't help smiling, and Xiao Wu's face became adorably apple red. Hi, what are you doing?" Flender said unhappily. At this the Shrek 7 devils hastily restrained their smiles, straightening their backs. Flender said, "We'll set out immediately, our goal is the Sunset Forest. Even though this time there are 4 of us along, I must announce an important point. Even though the 4th spirit ring doesn't have such an effect of connecting the past and future like the 3rd spirit ring, the 4th spirit ring is still equally important. In order to conduct even better actual combat drills before you join the Spirit Master Grand Competition, me and Grandmaster have decided after discussing it, that for this spirit beast hunting process, you will complete it yourselves. Unless it's an absolute last resort, we won't easily act. Under normal circumstances, not only won't we protect you, we would instead have you carry out the protection. This trip for hunting spirit beasts is also considered the first stage of your graduation exam. And the second stage is the next Advanced Spirit Master Grand Competition. Understood. Ma Hongjun was the least afraid of Flender, and couldn't keep from asking, "Teacher, then how will we pass the test?" Flender said, "Good question. Passing actually isn't difficult. For the first test you can rely on your collective power to hunt spirit beasts suitable to you. As long as the 4 of us haven't acted in the meantime, you will be considered to have passed. And the second stage, as long as you can casually return with the championship, you can also graduate fairly well." This is called, not difficult. Oscar couldn't help crying out. Even though they were all rare talents, given the age limit their strength couldn't after all reach the degree of opposing heaven. And what they had to confront was nonetheless the elite of spirit masters under 25. Destroying the opposition from start to finish and obtaining the championship was no easy matter. Flender's eyes glinted. "What? You have any objections, Oscar?" No objections. Dean is wise. Oscar knew Flender's character. If he raised any dissent, perhaps this graduation would become even more difficult. "If you don't, that's fine. We're leaving." Flender issued the order to set out, and a group of 11 people set foot on the avenue heading to Sunset Forest. Flender's quartet walked in front, and the Shrek 7 devils followed behind. Flender also wasn't worried, with Grandmaster, Lu Erlong, and Zhao Wuji all slowly advancing while talking and laughing. Such an appearance was more like an excursion. Dai Mabai brought up the Shrek 7 devils behind, saying in a low voice, "I've already obtained my 4th spirit ring. Have you all thought properly on what kind of spirit ring you need this time? Since Dean Flender's party isn't prepared to help us hunt spirit beasts, we will have to plan it out. According to Grandmaster's calculations, this time the best result would be to obtain spirit rings between 3 and 5,000 years. Of course, the closer to 5,000 years, the greater the strength growth rate. My 4th spirit ring was from a roughly over 4,000-year spirit beast. But, the closer to 5,000 years, the more difficult it will be to absorb the spirit ring. I don't think any of you have forgotten Little San's appearance when he absorbed the man-faced demon spider's spirit ring last time. Even though he endured that time, he also suffered enormous pain, not something a weak heart can accomplish. Therefore, you must quickly think of a good goal for yourselves. Under the premise of maximizing benefit, you must still consider what degree you can absorb." Everyone nodded one after another. Grandmaster's theories were naturally established, but each spirit master's own circumstances were different, and the limit of what they could support were actually somewhat disparate. Like Oscar and Ning Rongrong, the limit of spirit rings they could support were clearly a bit lower than the others. They were after all auxiliary system spirit masters, and their physical conditions were different from battle spirit masters. But for Tang San, who had in succession suffered absorbing the potent amplification of the man-faced demon spider's spirit ring as well as the octagonal mysterious ice grass and infernal precious apricot's transformation, the resilience of his body was terrifyingly higher than that of spirit masters of comparable rank. The target spirit ring ages to absorb would naturally be a bit higher. Tang San said, "It would be better like this. Right now we don't know concretely what spirit beasts we'll come across. Once we encounter spirit beasts not reaching the age limit, we'll beat him down until it can't resist, and afterwards we'll carefully determine its age. The one it suits the most will absorb it. If it suits no one, we'll release it. What do you think?" Tang San was Grandmaster's disciple, and further the soul of the Shrek Seven Devils. These words immediately obtained everyone's approval. Dai Mabai said, "Good, we'll do it like that. How to set about it will still follow Little San's directions." Tang San said, "Little Ao, before we enter the sunset forest, first make a batch of flying mushroom sausages for everyone, so if we encounter danger we can evade more easily. At the same time, everyone don't forget the flying god claws. Those can not only help you navigate difficult terrain, they can also be used to escape and seize spirit beasts. But you must be careful when using them. Don't use it easily if the spirit beast is too strong, otherwise you'll rush to help the spirit beast. When encountering a suitable spirit beast I will give priority to restraining its movements with control abilities. Afterwards you attack collectively, just don't kill it. Oscar, you're not only in charge of supplying everyone, at the same time you must also pay attention to replenishing the spirit beast. If by some chance everyone acts severely, putting the spirit beast on the verge of death, don't be stingy with your big recovery sausages. Rongrong, your mission is the simplest. In an encounter directly start assisting everyone with the 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda. Zhu Qing is in charge of scouting, while me, Mabai and Xiao Wu will be mainly in charge of attacking. Everyone clear, clear. Although Flender's quartet walked in front, their ears were all along directed at the activity in the back. Now listening to Tang San's deployment, this Shrek Academy dean's face couldn't help revealing a smiling expression, bumping Grandmaster at his side and saying, "Little San really isn't like a child, his mind is meticulous, and he doesn't panic in new situations. Even learning of his own background didn't influence his cultivation. I heard he even made a profit from the 7 treasure glazed tile school. Xiao Gang, how about you give him to me? Or how about having him also take on the role of teacher?" Grandmaster glanced across at Flender, saying, "Isn't it enough for you to be his dean? No matter what you say, Little San will graduate from the Shrek Academy in the future." Flender nodded, "That's so. Frankly, I really hope time would pass a bit faster. 30 years, no, in maybe 20 years, perhaps this world will belong to these children." Grandmaster's face showed a rare smile. "If we directly skipped 20 years, wouldn't you and me already be old?" Flender snorted, "You know it. So don't waste time." While speaking, he pursed his lips in Lu Erlong's direction. Grandmaster's expression went rigid, once again resuming his original appearance, looking at Flender with a burst of heat. But these feelings were a matter for 2 people, and even though he was very close to the 2 of them, he after all couldn't make decisions for others, and there was no way to catch Grandmaster. He also knew that if he forced things too urgently, there was a chance Grandmaster would go missing again, and that would be even more unbearable for Lu Erlong. Heaven Du City was very close to Sunset Forest. This Sunset Forest could also be said to be the place where spirit masters from the majority of the heart of the Heaven Du cities surrounding towns hunted spirit beasts. Of course, not many people knew about the places like the Ice and Fire Yin Yang well in the core areas. Volume 12. A Hammer Called Clear Sky. Chapter 82. Scarlet Dragon Stepping on Giant Earth King. Although Tang San lived here for the past half year, during that period he was always at the Ice and Fire Yin Yang well, Only when leaving under the guidance of poisoned Douluo did he hurriedly appreciate the surroundings of Sunset Forest. Once again coming back to Sunset Forest, Tang San still felt a sense of unfamiliarity. Comparing both Sunset Forest and Stardew Great Forest, other than their size differing by a lot, there were also many different factors. Stardew Great Forest was situated in the central zone of the continent. It was the center zone's biggest spirit beast forest. That place belonged to the tropical zone. Majority of the forest was primarily tropical vegetation. Whereas Sunset Forest's location was at the center of Heaven Dew Empire, although it wasn't really considered polar climate, but its temperature was much lower than Stardew Great Forest. This resulted in more of its plants belonging to the North's characteristical temperate vegetation. Tropical vegetation gives people a sense of denseness and moistness, while temperate vegetation gives a more refreshing feeling. It does not have such a high density that of tropical vegetation. Hence, when moving about in the forest, it was much easier for Sunset Forest than for Stardew Great Forest. Of course, powerful spirit beasts generally still preferred the tropical rainforest of Stardew Great Forest. Therefore, although Sunset Forest spirit beasts weren't low in numbers, there weren't many who had managed to cultivate to 10,000 years and beyond. The majority's cultivation remained in between 1,000 years and 10,000 years. Adding in the unrestrained hunting by the spirit masters, the spirit beast's quality generally dropped to some extent. By now, to want to hunt a spirit beast suitable for oneself, not only did it require strength, but patience was needed at the same time. The official start of the Spirit Master Academy Grand Competition was half a month away. This was also the limit for Shrek 7 Devils to hunt spirit beasts. In half a month, regardless of what they gained, they had to return back to the Academy, participating in Heaven Dew Empire's Heaven Dew Cities subdivision qualifiers. Half a day had passed after entering Sunset Forest. The number of spirit beasts encountered on the road was similar to Stardew Great Forest, but their quality was poorer to some extent. Although they also encountered several thousand-year grade spirit beasts, most of them just passed the 1,000-year level, clearly not what everyone wished for. Also, these spirit beasts did not come forth to provoke a large unit like theirs. Let's take a break. We will continue searching tomorrow. Flender, on seeing the darkened sky, shouted towards the Shrek 7 Devils who were searching about. Due to the Spirit Tool's assistance, everyone were amply prepared. In a moment, 2 tents were already set up. To be able to react faster in this spirit beast forest, the tents chosen by everyone were big and durable. The 4 teachers resided in one, and the Shrek 7 Devils resided in the other. Also, the task of keeping watch at night is naturally to be alternately carried out by the Shrek 7 Devils. It was by far not their first time working together, and the coordination between the Shrek 7 Devils had a tacit mutual understanding. Ma Hongjun, Oscar and Dai Mabai were in charge of setting up the tents. The girls under the leadership of Lu Erlong prepared the food, while Tang San walked one round about their surroundings, using some unusual medicinal powder of his to cordon off their camp zone. Not only did it have a certain deterring effect on spirit beasts, it could also prevent some undesirable animals from encroaching. When Tang San came back to the campsite after patrolling one round, the tents were already set up. Ma Hongjun was currently using his purified phoenix flame to kindle a fire. A metal pot rested on top of the fire. The water voluntarily brought over by everyone's spirit tools is currently in the process of being heated up. Tang San looked towards Grandmaster with some doubt. Teacher, isn't lighting a fire not good? Without waiting for Grandmaster to speak, Flender smilingly said, Relax, this isn't Stardew Great Forest. There are no terrifying beings similar to the Titan giant ape. Even if spirit masters come here to search, they won't create any sort of trouble for us. Don't forget, our golden iron triangle is gathered here now. As long as it is not a titled Douluo, nobody can harm you all. In the entire continent, titled Douluos only number 10 or so. Even if we happen to meet one, there is also nothing to clash about. With their status, why would they vie with you all over some spirit beasts? The north and the south are not the same. The nights here are very cold. With a fire and hot soup, you will all be able to be more comfortable. With a good spirit we can better search for spirit beasts tomorrow. Tang San suddenly saw the light, so that is how it was. This was precisely experience. It appears that his own experience was still too lacking. The same situation would change under different circumstances. Perhaps, this was exactly the area he himself needed to develop the most. Dinner was very sumptuous. After eating, Flender simply briefed the Shrek 7 devils and then entered the tent to rest. Although there were only 4 people residing in this tent, the volume of this tent was a bit smaller than Shrek 7 Devils'. Long before the tents were finished setting up, Flender had already finished the sleeping arrangement. Lu Erlong was on leftmost side, followed by Grandmaster, himself, and Zhao Wuji on the rightmost side. Regarding this arrangement, even Grandmaster was unable to raise any complaints. After all, although he didn't dare accept Lu Erlong's affection, he absolutely wouldn't wish for his beloved to be overly close to other men, especially in the kind of dim ambience during nighttime. Flender and Zhao Wuji returned to the tent to rest. Lu Erlong, who was at the side of the bonfire, gave Grandmaster several glances before entering the tent too. But right now Grandmaster was hesitating. He had attentively checked out the tent's beds, and almost everyone were right next to each other. Turning the body over, one could touch the bedding across. Although he flattered himself as an upright gentleman, if the woman he had loved for many years lay beside him, he couldn't be sure his heart wouldn't waver. In that moment, Grandmaster was sitting beside the bonfire, his mind somewhat confused. On the Shrek 7 Devils' side, the one in charge of keeping watch for the first half of the night was Dai Mabai. This request was by his own initiative. As the boss of the 7 Devils, regardless of age or spirit power, his was the greatest. Naturally he had to play an exemplary role. The latter half of the night was up to Tang San, while Oscar and the girls could naturally rest with ease. Camping out in the wilderness and cultivating in the academy wasn't the same. At the academy, one could use meditating cultivation to completely pass the night. However, meditating cultivation's biggest weakness was the need to concentrate. With a night of cultivation, although the body's condition would become better, there would be a period of mental exhaustion. Hunting spirit beasts didn't permit the emergence of such situations. In the event that the mind was unable to focus under the attack of a spirit beast, this could possibly result in irreparable losses. So in the process of hunting spirit beasts, when resting at night, everyone had to rely on sleeping to restore their condition to the very best. And the funny thing was that this theory was proposed up by Grandmaster. The rest of the Shrek 7 Devils had also entered the tent, only Dai Mabai was still beside the bonfire. Grandmaster, please go and rest. Let me go patrol one round around the surroundings. Grandmaster nodded his head, said, you go ahead. I will sleep later. Dai Mabai hesitantly said, aren't you tired? It's better to rest early. Tomorrow we still have to keep searching in the spirit beast forest. In terms of spirit power, Grandmaster was the lowest out of everyone here. Today, from hurrying with their journey till they reached Sunset Forest as well as searching for spirit beasts afterwards, there was nearly no time to rest. Even Dai Mabai felt somewhat weary. He didn't believe Grandmaster didn't feel so as well. Regarding the matter between Lu Erlong and Grandmaster, Tang San naturally wouldn't casually go gossiping, hence the rest of the Shrek 7 Devils weren't too clear about it. Grandmaster secretly let out a sigh. Forget it, anyway he was also tired. After entering he'd just go to sleep immediately. With this in mind, Grandmaster nodded to Dai Mabai, finally entering his living quarters. The profoundness of bedding wasn't only a matter in Grandmaster's tent. Inside the Shrek 7 Devils' tent, the sleeping arrangements were also decided after discussing it through. The girls were most unwilling to be near Ma Hongjun, directly kicking him to the berth on the leftmost side. And Zhu Zhuqing took the initiative to request to be on the rightmost side. A problem appeared. Out of the 7 people within Shrek 7 Devils, 3 were female and 4 were male. This resulted in that inevitably 1 female and 1 male's beds had to be adjacent. Dai Mabai was naturally willing to lean against Zhuqing and sleep in the center, but Zhu Qing vehemently refused. Oscar is even more willing to sleep beside Ning Rongrong at the center, but was immediately rejected by Ning Rongrong. Thus, the female to sleep at the center of the tent was left with Xiao Wu. And sleeping next to her could also only be Tang San. At first Tang San is unwilling, but being unable to stand up against everyone's excuse that they were brother and sister, the beds were arranged just like that. From left to right were Ma Hongjun, Oscar, Dai Mabai, Tang San, Xiao Wu, Ning Rongrong, and Zhu Zhuqing. Right now, Dai Mabai was keeping watch outside. Although everyone had tucked into bed, but for Tang San and Xiao Wu, who are in close proximity, their hearts were beating furiously. Xiao Wu is slightly more natural. After all, on her other side, there was still Ning Rongrong, but the berth on the other side of Tang San was empty. After lying down, he immediately straightened his body, not daring to make any movement, fearing to come into contact with Xiao Wu. But in spite of this, that faint fragrance from Xiao Wu's body constantly entered his nostrils. Last night, when brushing Xiao Wu's hair, Tang San had already recalled why he found the fragrance from Xiao Wu's hair to be familiar. This is because the fragrance from her long hair was very similar to the aromatic silk beauty immortal treasure which could restrain 100 poisons. Tang San vaguely remembered written in the mysterious heaven treasure record, this sort of fragrance that appeared on one's body was called innate silk beauty fragrance. Although it was unable to restrain 100 poisons like the aromatic silk beauty immortal treasure, it brought vast benefits to the human body. If one was able to smell it every day, not only did it have the effect of prolonging life, it could also strengthen one's immunity and give others a sense of intoxication. Xiao Wu's black hair in itself already made Tang San feel intoxicated, not to mention the current addition of innate silk beauty fragrance. Currently lying beside Xiao Wu, Tang San felt his whole body slightly feverish. Although he repeatedly told himself to hurry up and sleep, the more he thought like that the more awake he became, not having a wink of sleep at all. On the other side, Ning Rongrong leaned closely against Xiao Wu. At this time she nestled beside Xiao Wu's ear, laughing in a low voice. Xiao Wu, why do I feel that you are very nervous? What is there to be nervous about when leaning against your own big brother? If not, shall we swap? Xiao Wu snappily pinched Ning Rongrong's thigh. Annoying, not swapping. Ning Rongrong cannot help but let out a giggle, saying, I knew it that you couldn't bear to. Hurry, don't stick so close to me, I'm squeezed until I can't turn over. While speaking, Ning Rongrong deliberately turned her back over, using her tender buttocks to butt Xiao Wu once. Xiao Wu let out a soft exclamation, unable to avoid touching Tang San. Although separated by a blanket, Tang San was still taken aback. Hearing Ning Rongrong's chuckling sounds on the other side, all the more he didn't want to make a single movement. This feeling was somewhat agonizing. The scene of combing Xiao Wu's hair last night repeatedly played in his mind. Although Tang San himself wasn't clear about it, but actually after last night's incident, the feelings he had for Xiao Wu had already started to change from the pure relationship between a brother and his sister. Compared to Tang San, the agony now suffered by Grandmaster was even more intense. After entering the tent, Grandmaster used the fastest possible speed to burrow into his bed. He was even more careful than Tang San. Lying on his side, turning his back to face towards Lu Erlong, doing so not only allowed him to occupy a smaller area on the berth, it also made his heart somewhat steadier. Hearing the regular breathing sounds of Flender, Zhao Wuji and Lu Erlong, Grandmaster's worried heart gradually settled down, his body also gradually relaxed. In specific settings, sometimes deep memories are evoked. Right now, although silence filled the tent, Grandmaster couldn't help but think back about that scene a few decades ago. That day was the day he and Lu Erlong married. If so many setbacks hadn't occurred, perhaps, on the night of that day, Lu Erlong would have become his. But all this had already changed, and even though his most beloved woman lay beside him, he didn't dare make a single movement. Let alone trying to get close, he even wanted to hide. Only he himself knew the pain in his heart, that indescribable pain that he had endured silently over so many years. Heaven, why do you have to punish me in this way, insisting that my most beloved be my cousin? Why? Why this? While Grandmaster's heart twitched, his whole body unconsciously convulsed. Hidden within the blanket, his fists clenched, himself not sensing that even the nails are embedding into the skin. Once again meeting Lu Erlong, what kind of resolve did he use just to suppress the fire in his own heart? If not for Tang San, this disciple he had entrusted with his hopes, Grandmaster would have long ago run away again. He simply didn't wish to stay together with Lu Erlong for too long. The human heart is made of flesh, everyone has their impulsive moments. Grandmaster was truly afraid that one day he wouldn't be able to control himself and do something beastly. Of course, these were all his own thoughts. Just when Grandmaster's mind was in a state of chaos, a cool and satiny hand suddenly wrapped around his fist. Grandmaster's whole body instantly went stiff. Lu Erlong's soft voice sounded beside his ear, "Xiao Gang, being together with me, does it really make you suffer so much?" Grandmaster didn't dare to move, and was even more afraid to utter a sound. His whole body just stiffly lay there, trying to remove his hands from Lu Erlong's grasp, but Lu Erlong grabbed tightly, not willing to let him run away no matter what. In terms of strength, Lu Erlong was simply much stronger than him, with a spirit energy difference of several tens of grades. Escape was no easy matter for him. When Grandmaster didn't know what he should do, the situation that he was most afraid of finally happened. The blanket slightly cooled, and a satiny body burrowed inside, that fiery body tightly nestled up to back. The hand grabbing his unexpectedly let go, but was immediately followed by Lu Erlong's two arms encircling and tightening around his waist, making their two bodies tightly sticking together. Although Grandmaster wore clothes, right now he shockingly discovered that Lu Erlong, who is tightly sticking to him, wasn't wearing a stitch. Startled and turning pale, Grandmaster could only suppress his voice, "Erlong, don't be like that. There is still Flender and others around." Lu Erlong serenely said, "If not for them being here, I wouldn't have this opportunity. Xiao Gang, this time round, no matter what you say, I will not let you go. Even if it's rape, I will still obtain your body first." Grandmaster sufferingly said, "No, Erlong, listen to me. Even if you take my body, you cannot have my heart. We cannot be like this, we are brother and sister." Lu Erlong spat, "I don't care. I have already waited for you for so many years, waiting from when I was a young woman in my prime to an old woman. Don't tell me you really want me to wait until my hair turns white. Xiao Gang, stop tormenting me, and stop tormenting yourself. Are worldly prejudices that important? Since we have already got back together, just liberate your heart." While speaking, one of her hands slipped inside Grandmaster's lapel. Right now, whether it was Grandmaster or Lu Erlong, both their hearts beat furiously. For Flender and Zhao Wuji on the other side, their breathing was seemingly not so regular now. Flender also specially leaned towards Zhao Wuji's side, as if wanting to give them a bit more space, while Zhao Wuji kept chanting in his heart, "I see nothing, I hear nothing." The constrained feelings burst forth like a volcano. Although Lu Erlong was full of enthusiasm, she was after all still a virgin, and regarding matters between men and women she had only an ambiguous understanding. When it really came down to the real exercise, other than tearing off Grandmaster's clothes, she truly didn't know what else to do. However, every single action Lu Erlong did kept lighting up the fuse in Grandmaster's body. Grandmaster suddenly discovered that his own determination seemingly wasn't as firm as he imagined it to be. At last, he made up his mind. "Just go for it. Even if I were to die tomorrow, it will still be worth it. Erlong, release me." "Not releasing. I am not letting go no matter what. If you do not let go of me, how do I turn around? Don't tell me you want to remain in this position." Saying this, Grandmaster wasn't the only one dumbfounded. All sounds within the tent abruptly ceased. Lu Erlong's arms around Grandmaster's waist gradually loosened. Grandmaster fiercely shut his eyes. Under the spur of the raging fire that was lit in his body, he fiercely turned around, pushing Lu Erlong below him. No matter how big the strength difference was, at this kind of moment, the man has to always be on top of the woman. Erlong, At one side Flender scolded in his mind. At this moment you're still talking, fuck, aren't you a man? While thinking, he swiftly raised his hands and lightly poked both of his ears twice, sealing his own hearing. He didn't wish to be provoked further. Lu Erlong's answer is even simpler, come. Right at this crucial moment, suddenly a shout from outside the tent caused Grandmaster and Lu Erlong's to freeze. We have a situation, everyone be careful. This shout came from Dai Mabai. If one were to describe Grandmaster just now as an ignited raging fire, then right at this moment, that recently lit fuse immediately got doused with a basin of cold water. There is a situation. Right now Grandmaster was as fragile as a child. His hands that were hugging Lu Erlong gradually loosened. For fuck's sake, this old woman is going insane. Lu Erlong really wanted to go crazy. Seeing her long-awaited wish about to be fulfilled yet suddenly interrupted, that was already something the word, furious, couldn't describe. Her body sharply slid out from below Grandmaster. Grandmaster didn't even see clearly before she already had her clothes back on and had jumped out. Grandmaster discovered that on his other side Flender and Zhao Wuji didn't have a single reaction. Knowing his own strength was insufficient, he hurriedly thumped Flender, go out quickly and take a look, something's happening. Little did he know that right now Flender and Zhao Wuji had already sealed their hearing. Naturally they couldn't hear Dai Mabai's shouts outside. Flender furiously smacked away Grandmaster's hand, saying a line that shook Grandmaster's sides, fuck, if you're going to do it then do it, what are you groping me for? I'm not interested. Grandmaster stared blankly, giving him a kick. No need to ask, tonight's incident was obviously planned by Flender for Lu Erlong. Flender then felt something amiss. Grandmaster's strength is also not weak, and this kick of his sent him directly sticking onto Zhao Wuji's body. Making Grandmaster even more speechless, Zhao Wuji, whose hearing was also sealed, immediately scolded, Flender, I have no interest in you. Some husband and wife are having sex, don't tell me you want to screw me. Flender just released his hearing. Naturally he heard Zhao Wuji's words, using almost the same action as Grandmaster, one kick to Zhao Wuji's butt. Grandmaster's strength couldn't compare to his, and although Zhao Wuji's rough skin and thick flesh did not suffer any injuries, Flender's kick sent him straight out of the tent. The confusion in this tent naturally wasn't known to the Shrek 7 devils on the other side. In contrast to Grandmaster, after hearing Dai Mabai's warning, Tang San jumped out of his berth as if he liberated, leaping out immediately. His actions were even a little bit faster than Lu Erlong. Once out of the tent, Tang San saw a nearby Dai Mabai swiftly running towards him. Behind him, a ray of fiery light shot towards the sky, almost burning his back. With a leap Dai Mabai reached the side of the campgrounds, his face not having a trace of panic but a happy expression. A suitable spirit beast delivered itself to our doorsteps. Little San, your medicine seemingly has no effect on it. It's at least a 4,000-year-old or so spirit beast. Before Dai Mabai has finished speaking, Tang San has already sighted the spirit beast he spoke of. It was a scorpion with a gigantic stature. Its body wasn't at all small compared to the man-faced demon spider which Tang San killed previously. It was even several sizes bigger. What was bizarre was that this huge scorpion's entire body was snow white in color. Entire body emitting a strong murderous aura, its pale body moved keeping close to the ground with a surprisingly fast speed. A tail made of a chain of 9 tailbones rose high up. On top of it a fiery red tailhook was connected to it. Just as Tang San saw it, a pillar of fire sprayed out from its tail, rushing towards Dai Mabai. Hey, Dai Mabai exhaled, do you think I'm still afraid of you? White tiger spirit instantly enhancing his body, 2 yellow, 2 purple, 4 spirit rings appeared over him. With his body enhanced by his spirit, his stature was even more magnificent than before. Both hands clasping in front of his chest, the first spirit technique White Tiger Barrier already activated. A loud peng sound rang out. The light of fire scattered all around Dai Mabai, his body taking 3 consecutive steps backwards before standing firm. Currently, Tang San could already discern this spirit beast species. From its outer appearance, he could conclude that this was a giant earth king, belonging to the fire-based spirit beasts. This scorpion called Giant Earth King was exceptionally tyrannical with a bloodthirsty nature. Although spirit beasts weren't as fearful of it as the man-faced demon spider's poison, not many spirit beasts of the same grade dared provoke it. From its 9 tailbones, one could see this Giant Earth King had a cultivation age of 4,500 years or so. This was because every 500 years, its tailbones would increase by 1. The Giant Earth King was categorized into 3 different colors. A red-colored Giant Earth King had a cultivation of less than 1,000 years, each tailbone representing 50 years of cultivation. Once it had cultivated to 1,000 years, its gigantic body would return to its original form, becoming small again, but its body's color would change from red to white. Also, if it cultivated to the level of 10,000 years, it would change color once again. At that time, it would become dark blue in color. From its color and the number of tailbones, Tang San immediately concluded its strength. Correct, this spirit beast coincided with what they needed at the 40th level spirit energy. Just when Tang San was preparing to cooperate with Dai Mabai, as the rest of Shrek's 7 devils were exiting the tent, a shadow suddenly rushed out from the other tent. That was Lu Erlong with her hair in a terrible mess. Right now Lu Erlong's clothes were slightly disheveled, looking as if she had gone insane. On seeing that 4,000-year Giant Earth King after rushing out from the tent, she suddenly let out a howl, directly rushing towards the Giant Earth King. Not only were her movements surprisingly fast, but that burst of momentum shocked even Dai Mabai, Tang San and the others who were watching. Due to their attention being all focused on Lu Erlong, they did not see the miserable look of Zhao Wuji getting kicked out of the tent by Flender. Letting you to destroy this old woman's happy occasion, this old woman shall fight it out with you. While Lu Erlong scolded angrily, she released her own fire dragon spirit, rushing on without a single pause. It could be considered that this Giant Earth King was unlucky. Originally with its cultivation, when facing Tang San and the others it might have an opportunity to escape, but what appeared in front of it right now was an utterly furious Lu Erlong. It had already lost any chance. Suddenly seeing a human rushing towards it, the Giant Earth King's first reaction was to spray fire from its tail stinger, the same attack as it used on Dai Mabai earlier. A pillar of fire rushed towards the leaping Lu Erlong. But Lu Erlong wasn't Dai Mabai. Without even dodging, intense flames soared from her whole body. In the next moment, Tang San and the others clearly saw a fiery light exploding from Lu Erlong. Her 7th spirit ring instantly shined, clothes instantly disappearing, scales covering her skin, a terrifying dragon cry reverberated throughout the air. Tang San blankly said, "Just to handle a 1,000-year spirit beast, Teacher Erlong doesn't seem to require releasing her 7th spirit technique Scarlet Dragon Avatar. Didn't Principal Flender say that we are to handle spirit beasts ourselves? Why did Teacher Erlong go up by herself? Dai Mabai's evil eyes are also lifeless. Before I always thought that the tigress was the most ferocious. Now I understand that the female dragon is even more horrifying than the tigress. Dai Mabai, who did you say is a tigress? Of course that's my Zhuqing." "Ah, no, Zhuqing, listen to me, I wasn't referring to you." After Dai Mabai subconsciously answered, he discovered the one asking him this question was Zhuqing. Right now Zhuqing's expression wasn't one of icy cold, but one full of smiles. She who was originally very beautiful, with a smiling expression she became even more thrilling. But right now Dai Mabai wore an expression of panic. Spirit beast's senses were very keen. The higher the cultivation, the level of keenness naturally also increased. This Giant Earth King who had cultivated to close to 5,000 years felt something wasn't right when Lu Erlong displayed the Scarlet Dragon Avatar. On seeing enormous dragon wings stretching out from behind Lu Erlong, it knew it couldn't run even if it tried to. Only fighting with its full strength did it have a chance to escape. Suddenly, red light burst forth from the entire body of Giant Earth King. With its body as the center, the air several tens of meters around it completely distorted, the ground below its body instantly cracked. Using its 2 front claws to forcefully smash the ground, the distorted air instantly produced an intense shock wave. Even Lu Erlong, who used Scarlet Dragon True Body, couldn't help but delay faced with this shockwave. And at this moment, along with a booming sound from the cracked ground below the Giant Earth Kings, a crimson pillar of fire soaring up. This fire pillar was 2 meters in diameter, coincidentally covering the center of that distorted air. Right now Lu Erlong's body instantly stiffened in midair. Tang San had heard Grandmaster explain this skill in detail before. This Giant Earth King's innate skill was also its strongest ability. Along with its cultivation, it would keep getting stronger, called Magma Earth Rending Strike. What was most scary about it wasn't its strong attack power, but the distorted radiance covering a semicircle shape before its attack was released. The air in the radius of that distorted radiance could make enemies experience dizziness. The duration of dizziness was based on the distance between the Giant Earth King itself and its opponent. If the opponents could withstand it, then in the next moment what sprayed out was a fire pillar that was as hot as magma, which would fatally hit the opponent. Right now, the distance between Tang San and the others and the battlefield was very large. Even if this was right in front of them, they still didn't have any effective method to block this attack by the Giant Earth King. That time Grandmaster taught Tang San, the way to handle this type of spirit beast was to never ever keep close to the Giant Earth King's body. Only distancing over 20 meters from it, would there be no need to fear this terrifying technique of it. As for a 10,000 grade Giant Earth King, this distance would increase to 50 meters. The furious Lu Erlong naturally didn't have this kind of battle plan, watching the fire pillar violently knock into the chest of the enormous dragon body. At this moment, Flender and Grandmaster had also walked out from the tent. Of course, Grandmaster has an ugly facial expression, while Flender wore a face of innocence. They naturally also saw the appearance of Magma Earth Rending Strike. Grandmaster only furrowed his brows, while Flender's hands formed the shape of a prayer, muttering a sentence, "Pitiful Giant Earth King." Yes, the Giant Earth King was indeed pitiful. In the next moment Lu Erlong responded. When that enormous fire pillar rushed and hit her, a bizarre scene occurred. The slowed-down body of Lu Erlong in midair didn't get knocked away by the fire pillar, but rather she was immersed within it. The enormous fire pillar that is like magma instantly spread over her entire body. Under the heat of the flames, the crimson scales on her body dazzled like cut rubies. The body of the Giant Earth King was gigantic, but its eyes were extremely small. If right now anyone here was able to discern the expression in its eyes, then he or she would definitely see a panicked expression. In the next moment, Lu Erlong's body descended from the sky. Without any fancifulness, nor using any abilities, she only furled the 2 wings on her back. Just like that she descended from the sky. Her hind dragon claw heavily stomped on the back of Giant Earth King with a booming sound, causing more than half of the King of the Desert's body to sink below the ground. The Giant Earth King let out a sharp, tragic howl, its 2 front claws swiftly brandishing about, but it couldn't even make contact with Lu Erlong. Was the body of the Scarlet Dragon True Body released by Lu Erlong really that colossal? Was its weight really that terrifying? Just with that descent and directly stamping onto the body of Giant Earth King, although it didn't immediately crush it to death, it wasn't too far off. Too violent. Right now Dai Mabai couldn't pay attention to placating Zhu Zhuqing, totally shocked by Lu Erlong's actions. Ma Hongjun's eyes shined. I have decided, from now on Teacher Erlong will be the target of my worship. Don't tell me this is the rumored aesthetics of violence. The Giant Earth King struggled violently under Lu Erlong's body, but no matter how hard it tried it couldn't break free from that terrifying dragon claw. If this Giant Earth King were to possess human intelligence, then he would quickly come to regret not getting instantly crushed to death by Lu Erlong's legs. Volume 12. A Hammer Called Clear Sky. Chapter 83. Giant Earth King and Pink Queen. Under everyone's dumbstruck gazes, a wrathful flame burst in Scarlet Dragon Avatar Lu Erlong's eyes. Facing the giant Earth King, she raised her front claws. "Careful," Grandmaster shouted in the distance, since from his perspective he was able to see the giant Earth King's scorpion tail whip up. Although the flame shooting from that scorpion tail was unable to cause the Scarlet Dragon Avatar any harm, its own attack power was still excessive. No matter how it was described, this was still a close to 5,000-year spirit beast. Lu Erlong very quickly showed everyone her violent side. One hind claw still standing on the giant Earth King's back, the other hind claw rapidly rose and fell. With a peng sound, the giant Earth King's whole tail was stomped into the ground, the scarlet scorpion tail trembling, but no longer whipping about. In force, this 1,000-year spirit beast basically couldn't match Lu Erlong. Raising the front claws and smashing down simultaneously, one slamming down on top of the giant Earth King's head, Lu Erlong roared ferociously, "I'll show you," wrecking an old woman's happy occasion. The giant Earth King's sharp cry stopped abruptly. Of its giant body, only those two claws were still above ground. "If this old woman doesn't play until you're dead, my name isn't Lu Erlong." Hong, Hong, completely without abilities, using only the brute force of the Scarlet Dragon Avatar, Lu Erlong's both front claws unhesitatingly struck at the giant Earth King's front claws, and immediately following her claws cut downwards, precisely at the joints where the giant Earth King's claws connected to its body. With a terrifying caca sound, the giant Earth King's head and body shuddered violently, but Lu Erlong's strength was too great, and no matter how it struggled, it didn't have any chance of escaping. With a poo-poo sound, the two enormous scorpion claws were torn off by Lu Erlong while the beast was still alive, and deep red blood sprayed out. However, to Lu Erlong, this was only the beginning. In front of everyone's stupefied attention, Lu Erlong's tremendous body turned, one front claw already gripping the giant Earth King's tail stinger. In fact, this tail stinger was the giant Earth King's most powerful weapon, not only incomparably hard, but also surprisingly hot. Only a fire attribute spirit master like Lu Erlong would dare directly grab it like this. The next moment, Lu Erlong leapt down from the giant Earth King. Of course, this wasn't to let it off. Swinging her front claws, the already embedded in the ground giant Earth King whirled up, and then again heavily smashed onto the ground. In Lu Erlong's hands, the giant Earth King was like a broken burlap sack, continuously thrown up and smashed down again. That brutal scene made everyone's stomachs churn. Even Tang San, with his calm and steady temperament, wanted to ask his teacher, is she really human? Right now, none of the Shrek 7 devils dared step forward to speak to Lu Erlong, telling her that this spirit beast still had its use. After throwing it around several times, and it could be seen that the giant Earth King had completely lost any ability to fight and seemed somewhat lifeless, Lu Erlong stopped moving. Just when everyone thought the brutal scene was over, they could just hear Lu Erlong muttering to herself, "Having you wreck an old woman's happy occasion, this time I'll have you." As she muttered, using her dragon claws, she began to dismantle the giant Earth King into its components. Starting with the minutely varied tailbones, afterwards the joints of the tail, in a moment, of this supposedly magnificent spirit beast only remained the head and torso, the surroundings filled with discarded remains and sprays of blood. However, this giant Earth King's vitality was indeed unyielding, even now it still breathed. Lu Erlong swung her dragon claw, throwing the giant Earth King's body in a parabola in the air, falling heavily to the ground in front of the Shrek 7 devils. "There, fatty, it's yours. You're also fire attribute, it suits you well." The instant the giant Earth King crashed loudly onto the ground, the Shrek 7 devils practically simultaneously retreated a step. The three girls' complexions were already pale from watching the gruesome spectacle, and if it wasn't for Grandmaster's special training before, perhaps they would already have vomited. For me. Ma Hongjun looked at that terrifying scarlet dragon, probingly asking. Still not moving. This old woman let you have what you wanted, why so much nonsense? Lu Erlong's dragon eyes widened, the intimidation almost knocked Ma Hongjun to the ground, before he hastily moved, with a heart filled with mercy finally ending that pitiful giant Earth King's life. The red light withdrew, and Lu Erlong again recovered her human form. The fiery gaze had now become completely ice-cold, somewhat bitterly sweeping across Grandmaster, then without saying anything she returned to the tent to sleep. Besides Ma Hongjun, who quickly sat on the ground and released his spirit to begin absorbing the spirit ring, the others stood there motionless, seemingly afraid that a single sound would infuriate Lu Erlong again. After a long time, Zhao Wuji furtively glanced at the tent behind him, saying in a low voice, "It's really difficult to imagine, before I actually shared a tent with a humanoid Tyrannosaurus Rex. Flender, when you said before that your sister Erlong had a temper, I didn't quite believe you, she's so pretty. But now I know, you weren't exaggerating a bit, even so much that you didn't say enough. I've decided, I'll take the night vigil from now. Don't fight me over it." Flender nodded repeatedly, saying, "Fatty's absorbing the spirit ring. As his teacher I should still watch over him. Xiao Gang, you go rest. Me and Wu Ji will handle things here. Rest your face." Grandmaster, extremely depressed, glared at Flender. By now the burning flames in his heart had completely gone out. Glancing at the tent, he walked straight to a tree stump to the side, and sat down closing his eyes without a word. Dai Mabai coughed. "Teacher Erlong really is my idol. Now I know what true violence is. No wonder she's called the slaughtering corner of the Golden Iron Triangle." Xiao Wu, Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zhuqing were unwilling to stay here another second, and swiftly returned to the tent. As for whether the scene Lu Erlong's displayed affected their sleep, only they knew. Oscar pulled Tang San. "It seems tonight there's no need for you to keep watch. Little San, Boss Dai, let's go back to sleep." Returning to the tent, because they were one Ma Hongjun less, Tang San had a flash of inspiration and had Dai Mabai and Oscar shift aside, leaving an empty space between him and Xiao Wu, then again lay down. However, in the minds of each of the six within the tent, the scene of the havoc wrought by the Scarlet Dragon played repeatedly. This was the true strength of a high-level spirit master. A 5,000-year spirit beast perished in a flash, and moreover was still dismembered by that particular method. After an eventless night, when everyone woke from their dreams early the next morning and left the tent, Ma Hongjun was still sitting where he had been last night. Only now he had already changed considerably. The first thing to catch the eye were the 4 spirit rings, 2 yellow and 2 purple. Only his body that had slimmed down some because of taking that immortal treasure herb seemed to have grown a size fatter. The atmosphere around him seemed to be brimming with fiery bursts. Flender stood beside Fatty with a satisfied expression, his disciple being able to obtain his 4th spirit ring even earlier than Tang San made him extremely pleased. People will inevitably have vanity, and he was no exception. "Dean Flender, has Fatty still not finished?" Tang San asked, somewhat astonished. Generally speaking, for absorbing a spirit ring half that time was enough, but this had already taken a full night. Flender said, "The absorption finished long ago. I had him continue cultivating to let the spirit ring's energy merge completely with his body. This giant Earth King suits him precisely. It seems that this 4th spirit ring's ability of his should be pretty good. You work hard as well. Quickly find a suitable spirit beast." Making the 3 girls feel much more comfortable was that last night's giant Earth King remains had already disappeared. Clearly Flender and Zhao Wuji had cleared him away. Only the depression in the ground still reminded everyone of the purely one-sided battle that took place last night. As everyone simply washed up, and after eating breakfast, Ma Hongjun woke from his cultivation. A resonant phoenix cry rose from his mouth, his chubby body leaping up, covered in flames, golden red light releasing in a flash, then vanished again, the 4 spirit rings quietly merging into his body. The instant his little eyes opened, A radiance flickered. His expression was lively and spirited. Just as everyone were about to ask Fatty how he felt absorbing the fourth spirit ring, an angry voice berated from within the other tent, "Who has nothing better to do than shouting things at first light?" When the originally somewhat complacent Fatty heard this voice, his whole body shivered immediately, and without the slightest hesitation he dodged behind Flender. Flender frowned. "All right, what are you hiding from? Don't tell me you really think Teacher Erlong would hit you. You must understand that she's after all no longer young, her hormones are somewhat out of tune. Her character is mostly as usual. Flender, do you want to die?" Even though Flender spoke very quietly, Lu Erlong's hearing was even better. A messily dressed humanoid Tyrannosaurus Rex burst out from the tent. Lu Erlong's eyes were somewhat red. Clearly she hadn't slept well last night. In the beginning she had still hoped Grandmaster would enter the tent and continue what they were doing before, but as she waited and waited, with no sign of Grandmaster, Lu Erlong's mood was as one might expect. "Hey, Erlong, I wasn't talking about you." At this time Flender didn't wish to provoke her, and simultaneously sighed inwardly, somewhat pleadingly looking at the apathetic Grandmaster, eating breakfast to the side. "Erlong, enough." Grandmaster finally spoke up. Lu Erlong stopped her charge at Flender. Turning her head to look at Grandmaster, her delicate body trembled slightly. "You're even less good, even bullying me." After speaking, she turned sharply and dashed back into the tent, leaving a string of sparkling drops in the air. Grandmaster painfully closed his eyes, and even though he didn't say anything, the steamed bun in his hand had already been squeezed into paste. After an hour the packing was done and the party set out once again, only the mood had clearly become a lot more delicate. Lu Erlong gloomily walked behind the group, while Grandmaster, Flender and Zhao Wuji took the front, against expectations letting the Shrek 7 devils walk in the center. Oscar bumped Ma Hongjun. "Fatty, dealing with the fourth spirit ring, how does it feel?" "Easily absorbed." Ma Hongjun nodded, saying, "Very easy, it was settled in just an hour. It didn't even bring me any trouble. Really strange. Don't tell me, did the giant Earth King already give up its wish to live under Teacher Erlong's tyranny and believed I helped liberate it, letting me absorb it?" Tang San said, "In some sense, such circumstances can occur. In Teacher's research, if a spirit beast doesn't have any deep resentment when it's killed, then absorbing it will be a bit easier, relatively speaking. Vice versa, if the spirit beast carries extremely deep resentment, then absorbing the spirit ring will become severely challenging. Last time when I absorbed the man-faced demon spider's spirit ring was under such circumstances. But, Teacher also said, absorbing the spirit ring after the spirit beast died under these two kinds of circumstances will have benefits to the spirit master. One kind is when the spirit beast is brimming with extreme resentment. Under such circumstances the chance of a spirit bone dropping is substantially increased. The other kind of circumstances is when the spirit beast dies voluntarily letting itself become a spirit master's spirit ring. There's practically a 100% chance of a spirit bone dropping, and moreover the spirit ring will be perfectly absorbed, not suffering the restrictions of age limit. In other words, even if we're now only 40th rank, if a 10,000-year spirit beast wanted to let us kill it and absorb its spirit ring, we still wouldn't suffer any backlash. So good, Oscar and Ma Hongjun spoke in unison. To the side Dai Mabai said, "Good how? You think it's easy. Why would a spirit beast wish to let you kill it, wish to give you its spirit ring? This is only an ideal situation. One might say it's basically impossible for it to happen." Xiao Wu rocked the yearning heartbroken red in her hands, calmly saying, "Nothing is impossible. With a destined coincidence, perhaps it will happen." Fatty, somewhat disappointed, said, "Then tell me, was this spirit ring I absorbed the first kind, or the second kind of circumstances?" Tang San said, "If that giant Earth King had been killed by Senior Erlong, perhaps it would be the first kind of circumstances." Listening to him, everyone couldn't keep from shivering, recalling Lu Erlong's berserk attack yesterday. Each person was somewhat shaking in fear at the bottom of their hearts. Tang San continued, "There's equally a large problem with the first kind of circumstances. In order to have the spirit beast's resentment reach such an extreme, it requires fighting it yourself. You can't use others, or the spirit beast's resentment will be scattered. But, in ordinary circumstances, the strength of the spirit beast a spirit master wants to hunt would be a bit stronger than himself. Something as difficult to accomplish as the one-sided pattern like Teacher Erlong yesterday would naturally be impossible to achieve. And although Teacher Erlong could oppress the giant Earth King like yesterday, since the strength difference between it and Teacher Erlong was too great, even if Teacher Erlong needed another spirit ring right now, she definitely wouldn't choose it. Oscar thought deeply and said, "No wonder spirit bones are so rare. These circumstances are too extreme." "Oh, right, Fatty, what's your fourth spirit ability?" Fatty had a secretive expression. "Wait until there's a chance to use it, and I'll let you see. But it really seems very good. It's a pity the attack range is a bit small. Moreover, there's no way to lock down the opponent again." The morning air temperature in the Sunset Forest was low and the air was extremely humid, forming a morning mist. The fog was extremely cold, and along with a fluttering breeze, right now when the sun still hadn't risen, the fog was very dense. Tang San pulled out a small porcelain bottle from 24 moonlit bridges and dumped out some small black pills from inside, handing out one for each person, including Flender, Grandmaster and the others. "What's this?" Flender looked at that only rice grain-sized pill, puzzled, asking Tang San. Tang San said, "This is a miasma pill I made myself. In the woods and deep mountains, miasma will frequently appear. The miasma air is incomparably poisonous, and eating this pill you can at least avert the majority of the miasma attack. It also has an invigorating effect." Flender said with sudden understanding, "This is what that old freak Douluo taught you. It seems you indeed learned a lot of things from him." Tang San smiled faintly, not explaining. With the cover of his half-year together with Douluo, the medicines he used wouldn't provoke anyone's doubts. It would be even less likely someone would associate this with his innate gifts. The morning mist grew denser and denser, and although the morning cold didn't influence a group of generally over 40th rank spirit masters like them, the visibility grew worse and worse. Flender cautiously said, "Everyone be careful, some spirit beasts are especially fond of moving in the early morning. With the visibility so poor right now, gather a bit closer just in case there are any surprises." Lu Erlong quickly took a few steps forward, reaching Flender's side and patting Zhao Wuji's shoulder. "You go in the back. We'll change places." Although Lu Erlong seemed to have recovered her calm, Zhao Wuji didn't dare say anything against her and hastily changes positions with her. Lu Erlong glanced at Grandmaster, standing on his other side and protecting him from both sides along with Flender. Even though this process was very simple, nobody would miss that Lu Erlong was afraid the weakest Grandmaster would meet any danger in the mist, and wanted to personally protect him. Grandmaster naturally also understood Lu Erlong's intention, and secretly sighed, but didn't have anything to say, still silently moving forward. Before they had moved forward 300 meters, suddenly, a strange wind blew from the front, unexpectedly causing a change in color in the morning fog. The originally dense white mist instantly became pink, directly shrouding everyone within. That pink fog held a faint sweetness, giving people a kind of addictive sensation. "Everyone careful, the mist's poisonous," Flender shouted loudly, simultaneously as Lu Erlong making a palm strike forward, relying on their profound spirit power to scatter the poison fog in front. At the same time he also couldn't keep from inwardly sighing in admiration over Tang San's previous foresight. This seemed to be the miasma he spoke of. However, everyone quickly felt something was amiss. This suddenly appearing poison fog was even thicker than they had imagined, and even though Flender and Lu Erlong's spirit power could scatter it, it condensed again very quickly, and in just a few eye blinks their surroundings were already pink. Most shocking to the Shrek Academy party was that within that pink fog their visibility dropped to its lowest point, and it was difficult to even see the people next to them. "This isn't miasma, little ow, detoxifying small sausages," Tang San suddenly shouted, and immediately afterward a purple golden light was emitted from his eyes. The others might not see clearly in the thick fog, but the influence on his mustard seed's stage purple demon eye was a lot less, and he could vaguely see the surrounding scenery. Careful, it's spirit beasts. Tang San called aloud once again. Stretching out his right hand, he pulled in Xiao Wu's hand, simultaneously swiftly releasing his blue-silver grass spirit, spreading it out in all directions, creating an early warning system around everything within several dozen square meters. Stretching a hand into the wishful 100 treasure purse, he pulled out a large, faintly pink flower. The flower was leafless, its stalk 3 chi long, with an enormous flower with a diameter over 1 chi. Each petal was sparkling and translucent like crystal. The stamen was faintly purple as if it was a purple diamond inlaid there. A touching fragrance wafted out from the flower, penetrating the heart. After Tang San drew out this flower, a bizarre scene immediately appeared. With Tang San at its heart, within a 10-meter diameter, that pink fog seemed to instantly melt away like snow meeting boiling water, forming a faintly purple stream of air that swiftly scattered into the surroundings, allowing the Shrek Academy group to again see their companions. Nobody leave this circle. Tang San's left hand carefully held that large flower, calmly observing the thick pink fog in front. Everyone clearly saw that right now there was an incorporeal faintly purple air around them, and no matter how thick that pink fog was, or how the wind in the forest blew, that pinkness was unable to get into the 10-meter range around them. In my hand is an aromatic silk beauty immortal treasure. It has the effect of neutralizing 10,000 poisons, and within its range any poison will lose its effect. For the moment don't leave this range. This thick fog seems to be caused by spirit beasts, and it's not just one. We're surrounded. Grandmaster knew the capability of Tang San's eyes and immediately questioned closer. Little San, can you see the appearances of those spirit beasts? With his experience, as long as Tang San could describe the spirit beasts, he could determine what kind they had encountered, and dealing with them would naturally become a lot easier. Tang San said, I'll try. Urging his mysterious heaven skill, Tang San congregated it at his eyes, purple golden light suddenly flashing out of them in chi-long rays of light in the direction he was looking. The immortal treasure herb, full moon wearing autumn dew, changed Tang San's purple demon eye. Not only could he see more clearly, but also more penetratingly. Even to the extent that it could be used as a mental attack. Right now, with Tang San using his full strength, his gaze cut through the layers of fog, gradually seeing clearly the spirit beasts around them. As he saw these spirit beasts, he couldn't help drawing a deep breath. These spirit beasts' own strength wasn't so scary. What was scary was that their numbers really were too high. Teacher, it's Pink Maiden, spirit beasts. Grandmaster looked distracted. You didn't make a mistake. Even though the Pink Maidens have poison, even at the 10,000-year level, they still can't produce a poisonous fog over such a large area to attack us. Tang San's expression was serious. Teacher, I'm certain. Moreover, I also know why there would be such a dense poison fog. Because there are no less than 1,000 Pink Maidens out there. Even though for the most part they're only on the 100-year level, such an amount of Pink Maidens can rely on the morning mist to release poison to such a degree. What? 1,000? Is this possible? There was a shocked light in Grandmaster's eyes, and his stiff face immediately grew serious. What are you talking about? What Pink Maidens? Lu Erlong couldn't keep from asking. Grandmaster said in a heavy voice, Pink Maidens are a kind of spirit beast. Its shape is similar to a scorpion, but compared to the giant Earth King it's considerably inferior. It's a flock spirit beast. Its nature is comparatively mild. Because its body appears to be pink and translucent, its profile dazzling, it's given the name, Pink Maiden. Generally speaking, it will very rarely take the initiative to attack humans, and seems to only keep away from spirit masters. Each group of Pink Maidens only number around a few tens to 100, with the most powerful one as leader. In order to keep other members from surpassing it, if there is a member that evolves faster, the most formidable one will kill it. This leads to this kind of spirit beast very rarely resulting in 10,000-year level existences. Even to the extent that 1,000-year levels are very few. Flender frowned. Then what's the attack capability of such spirit beasts? Only poison. Grandmaster nodded, saying, yes, but their poison also isn't very strong. The man-faced demon spider that Tang San killed is their natural predator. One man-faced demon spider can even easily kill a group of 100 pink maidens. Among all spirit beasts that attack with poison, they're still considered pretty inferior. Their poison is very particular, a kind of stimulating poison. Breathing in a little bit wouldn't be harmful, and would instead cause the victim to become excited. But if too much is inhaled, and gradually causes excitement, once the stimulation reaches a certain degree it will overdraw one's vitality, until death. Precisely because its body is weak, it's also extremely difficult for them to evolve, and they become food for a lot of high-level spirit beasts. If it's like Little San says, and we've now encountered a 1,000-member Pink Maiden community, then I can say with certainty that within this community, there must have appeared a Pink Queen. The Pink Queen is a variant Pink Maiden. It's also the most powerful Pink Maiden, and in order for this mutation to occur it will first require at least 3,000 years of cultivation. Next it requires eating at least 100 of its own clansmen. Once such a Pink Queen emerges, it will gather its kin on a large scale, using them as food. Because her strength is much more powerful than ordinary Pink Maidens, as a result, even if there is the risk of being eaten, the majority of Pink Maidens will still obey. A single Pink Maiden is even unable to harm a 10th rank or so Spirit Master, but the poison secreted by a Pink Queen is enough to stimulate a 50th rank Spirit Master to death. This kind of peculiar poison can't be guarded against. It will even invade the body through the skin. The poison fog released by these 1,000 Pink Maidens is in order to poison us to death here. But I don't understand why a mild-tempered Pink Maiden would show such hostility towards us. It's as if they ambushed us here. When Grandmaster talked about the characteristics of the Pink Maiden, Tang San silently reflected by his side. Now hearing Grandmaster say this, he said, "Teacher, wouldn't you say it's because of that giant Earth King last night?" The giant Earth King is the same as the Pink Maiden. They're both scorpion-shaped spirit beasts. Perhaps it would be related to it. Light flickered in Grandmaster's eyes. It's possible. Don't tell me. This community's Pink Queen unexpectedly was the mate of that giant Earth King. This is very possible. The intelligence of spirit beasts will grow along with their age. Even if it's a Pink Queen, among spirit beasts it's still considered fairly weak. And the giant Earth King is nevertheless a similar kind of creature. The giant Earth King's magma earth-rending strike even has a certain restraining effect on the man-faced demon spider. If one said the Pink Queen committed herself as the price for its protection, the theory holds water. That giant Earth King's strength should be considered pretty good in this sunset forest. Further adding this enormous Pink Maiden community, it's sufficient to control a corner. Flender looked at Lu Erlong at his side, unable to keep from laughing. You bullied the husband, so now the family's come for revenge. Cold light flashed in Lu Erlong's eyes. Revenge. Fine, then I'll keep killing, making him a pair of mandarin ducks. Grandmaster firmly said, the poison fog aggregated by more than 1,000 Pink Maidens is no small matter. We absolutely can't be careless. Just now we were all affected by a bit of the poison, and were it not for Little San having this bizarre anti-poison flower, it would be hard to say what would have happened. Right now there are several ways to settle the issue. One is to rely on this flower's poison-resisting properties to break through. An even more dependable method is to rely on Flender's flying ability to shift us one by one out of this area. As long as we get out of the affected region it wouldn't be a problem. But that also confronts us with the danger of ambush by other kinds of spirit beasts. Little San, you have a comparatively better understanding of poison. What's your proposal? Tang San said, Pink Maidens after all lack attack power. With our strength it's still preferable to break through. As long as we keep a close formation it's possible. Best would be if that Pink Queen couldn't keep from coming out to attack. As long as we could dispatch her, the headless spirit beast group would naturally disperse. As long as everyone stays within a 10-meter diameter from me, the poison wouldn't take effect. Flender nodded, saying, "Good, then it's settled. Let's not delay, little San. Since you can see the surrounding circumstances, we'll follow your directions. Wu Ji take up the rear, Erlong and Grandmaster, we're in front. Mabai, all of you coordinate in the center, make sure to protect little San, little Ao and Rongrong. Especially this aromatic silk beauty immortal treasure little San holds." With an accurate analysis of the situation, naturally there was less bewilderment. Everyone's battle lust ignited, even Grandmaster, each person released their spirit. As a result of obtaining a third spirit ring, Grandmaster's spirit Luo San Pao's body had changed somewhat, not only growing a size larger than before, but also gaining some golden color in its deep purple fur. Looking at his appearance, if Grandmaster really could obtain 9 spirit rings, maybe it would really be capable of evolving into a golden saint dragon. Under Tang San's directions, using the aromatic silk beauty immortal treasure's poison resistance, everyone advanced cautiously. Grandmaster and Tang San's judgment was exceptionally correct. This group of pink maidens' leader was precisely a pink queen, and it was also the mate of last night's unfortunate giant Earth King. Spirit beasts had methods of communicating between each other, and the giant Earth King naturally released a kind of scent when it died, informing the Pink Queen. Further adding the existence of the giant Earth King's aura on Ma Hongjun, naturally the family would come calling. The area the pink maidens surrounded wasn't too large, but Tang San very quickly found something wrong. Along with their movements, the entire encirclement also moved. Right now, even though the morning mist had already gradually dissipated in the sunlight, their surroundings were still concealed by a pink poison gas, only appearing a bit thinner than before. Pausing, Tang San said, "This won't do. These pink maidens are also moving. My line of sight is unclear, and within the forest our speed is also limited. If this continues, we can only continue within their encirclement. Even though we have the aromatic silk beauty immortal treasure, we still can't continue this way. Little Ao, prepare mushroom sausages." Oscar looked inquiringly at Flender, and Flender used his hand to point to Tang San, little San directs. After Oscar's spirit power progressed, when consuming his entire spirit power he could produce 12 flying mushroom sausages, just enough to satisfy everyone's requirements. Even though the effect would reduce by half when he himself used these flying mushroom sausages, but he could prepare 2. Flender had his own flying spirit, and didn't need a mushroom sausage. He could still fly for 1 minute like everyone else. Volume 12. A Hammer Called Clear Sky. Chapter 84. Fatty's 4th spirit ability, Phoenix Whistling Sky Strike. Tang San's objective was simple. Relying on the mushroom sausages granting the ability to fly swiftly, this allowed everyone to pass through the poison fog area. By killing and wounding the pink maidens outside, the passive situation could then be solved. In half an hour, Oscar had almost used up his entire spirit energy, and finished producing 12 flying mushroom sausages. After a short rest, everyone immediately launched the operation. Eating the mushroom sausage, everyone first flew into the air. To prevent anyone entering the poison fog region due to their inconsistent flying speeds, Tang San released his blue-silver grass, twining around everyone's waist respectively, using the length of blue-silver grass to control the distance between everyone and him. Rapidly mobilizing and establishing a direction, they swiftly flew towards it. While it wasn't impossible to travel along the ground's surface as the speed of pink maidens wasn't considered too fast, but one would get obstructed by the trees when traveling just above the ground. After all, their vision wasn't clear. Even with Tang San's guidance, the 11-man team couldn't achieve a consistent speed. Right now the poison fog was even stronger than just now. Tang San absolutely didn't wish for anyone to accidentally breathe in the poison fog and cause unnecessary trouble. Even for him, it was extremely troublesome to get rid of this type of stimulating poison gas. Following the increase in Oscar's strength, not only did the flying mushroom sausage's speed somewhat increase, the duration it lasted also increased by about 10 seconds or so. Although compared to it before that it wasn't considered very long, this amount of time was sufficient to allow him to fly out of the poison fog region. The pink poison fog got split apart by the aromatic silk beauty immortal treasures smell, heavily rolling past their two sides. When the mushroom sausage's flying effect was roughly used up by half, everyone's vision suddenly cleared up. Having rushed out of the poison fog's encirclement, the surrounding scenery became clear instantly. Lu Erlong let out a strong howl. Swaying her waist and breaking off the blue-silver grass on it, her body descended towards the ground like a meteor. Before she landed, large flames had already rushed forth. A shrill scream suddenly came from below. Everyone looked downwards, just in time to see the dense amount of spirit beasts below their feet. The true appearance of the Pink Maiden appeared in front of them. Just like what Grandmaster had described, each of them looked like a crystal-clear pink scorpion, as if it was formed by carving a pink crystal. Each of them was about 2 chi in body length, moving about on the ground, their bodies continuously emitting a faint pink gas that coagulated towards their front. Due to last night's incident, Lu Erlong's mood was already bad. Again getting stranded by the poison fog for half a day, right now she couldn't tolerate any longer after getting out of the poison zone. Although she wasn't as reckless as last night when she used the Scarlet Dragon avatar, but right now just like a flaming demon king rushed towards the group of poisonous scorpions. That was a one-sided massacre. With just the first wave of flames, at least 10 Pink Maiden bodies got melted. Let us go down too. Fearing that Lu Erlong may have some mishap, Flender nodded towards Tang San. Tang San withdrew the blue-silver grass, and everyone controlling their own flying ability, descended from the sky. Don't overkill, Grandmaster shouted. He wasn't only speaking to the Shrek 7 devils, but more importantly towards Lu Erlong. Lu Erlong kicked a Pink Maiden beside her into the air, turned around and looked at Grandmaster. Coldly letting out a snort, her speed increased again. On the surface, although she didn't seem to agree with him, in reality she still highly respected Grandmaster's opinions. In the end, these pitiful scorpions that flew into the air were able to live to see another day. Dai Mabai whispered in Flender's ear, "Dean, didn't you say this time round we are to handle the spirit beasts ourselves?" "Look, Teacher Erlong Shi," Flender helplessly replied. "Women with hormones that are out of tune cannot be judged using common sense. Xiao Gang, why not let us leave this area, since we aren't going to make these Pink Maidens suffer, and dealing with them is after all somewhat troublesome." Contrary to Flender's expectations, Grandmaster shook his head and said, "No hurry, let's wait a while more." At this moment, a piercing animal cry came from the poison fog region. Immediately, a pink shadow leapt out from within the poison fog with a whooshing sound, opening its mouth and spraying a thick fog towards Lu Erlong. Lu Erlong was momentarily surprised. Smacking both palms towards her front, her body instantly sprang backwards, however she cannot help but sniff a trace of the poison fog. Luckily, there was the miasma pill given by Tang San beforehand, giving her a certain resistance to the poison fog. With the addition of her solid cultivation, a small amount of poison fog was unable to cause her harm easily. "Erlong, come back. Little San, all of you go. Don't kill it. Leave it breathing." Grandmaster calmly gave out the commands to attack. Coming out from the forest was an enormous Pink Maiden. Its size wasn't too different from yesterday's giant Earth King that was abused by Lu Erlong. Not only was the pink color on its body much deeper, its entire body was covered by a fine layer of scales. On its head, 6 tiny eyes that are dark red in color glinted a faint cold light. Lu Erlong's sudden retreat avoided the poison fog it sprayed, making it angrier. Lashing its scorpion tail on the ground, it chased towards Lu Erlong. That's right, this was a pink queen. From the outer appearance, Grandmaster could determine that this pink queen's cultivation was approximately between 3,500 years and 4,000 years. "Third brother, assist me." Ma Hongjun let out a shout, a phoenix cry ringing out from his body. This sound wasn't made by his mouth, but produced by the rising flames on his body themselves. Blazing hot flames that were gold-red in color instantly spread over his entire body, the third spirit ring on his body scattering a purple light. In a moment, a pair of enormous flaming wings instantly spread out from Fatty's back. Wings spanning over 4 meters, although that somewhat didn't fit with Fatty's chubby body. The blazing hot air current made the Shrek 7 devils swiftly retreat a couple steps, increasing their distance. Everybody had been cooperating for such a long time. Of course Tang San understood Ma Hongjun's intentions. He wanted to try out the newly acquired spirit technique. Go. Tang San only gave him a simple instruction. Lifting his right hand, a green ball of light was thrown out. The flaming wings on Ma Hongjun's back suddenly flapped. Once again flying up with a gorgeous flaming tail, he chased after the green ball of light that was flying towards the Pink Queen, just like a raging meteor. This was Ma Hongjun's third spirit technique, Phoenix Ascension. Relying on this spirit technique, he was able to temporarily have the ability to fly. During the process of flying, spirit energy would be drained continuously. At the same time, this technique would ignite his second spirit technique, Bathing Fire Phoenix. Combining the two spirit techniques into one, the attack power of his flames was temporarily increased by 100%, and the attack range was increased by 50%. Starting from the third spirit technique, Ma Hongjun's powerful Phoenix battle spirit started to show the strength beyond ordinary battle spirits. With the help of Tang San in removing his variant spirit's evil fire restriction, this allowed him to release his spirit technique without second thoughts. The 6 tiny eyes on Pink Queen's head immediately revealed a horrified expression. Not even Lu Erlong's flames earlier gave this sort of feeling. At the same time, an intense anger was also contained within that fear. This was because she has already clearly sensed the presence belonging to the giant Earth King from Ma Hongjun's body. The reason why it felt horrified was naturally due to the flames on Ma Hongjun's body, poisonous insect-type spirit beasts just like it were all afraid of fire. But after all, the Pink Queen did have nearly 4,000 years of cultivation, it wouldn't be bothered by ordinary flames. However, the phoenix flames on Ma Hongjun's body was the nemesis of all poisonous insects. And the phoenix was the king of 10,000 birds. The suppression from its presence had already made the Pink Queen confused. The green light spread out in a flash, the enormous spiderweb not even giving the Pink Queen the chance to dodge. That was how exquisite Tang San's technique was. The effect of spider web restraint was instantly shown. In a puff, Pink Queen's huge body was bound securely by the spider web. At this moment, it was already not fearful, but completely terrified. The spider web's presence belonged to its natural enemy, the man-faced demon spider, causing its entire body to become limp. Powerful toxins entered its body, instantly causing its defensive power to greatly decrease, and at this moment, Ma Hongjun dove down, landing in front of it with a bang. His flames suddenly dimmed. Everyone clearly saw the flaming wings on Ma Hongjun's back spread out towards the sky as he landed onto the ground, his right fist heavily smashing the ground. In that instant, the air became violently distorted. A cage of light that was 5 meters in diameter enveloped the bodies of Pink Queen and him. The Pink Queen, who was desperately struggling in the spider web restraint, became stiff in that distorted air, completely losing the ability to move. Following up, Fatty roared, fourth spirit technique, Phoenix Cry Sky Strike. Boom! A powerful phoenix blaze exploded in an instant. A loud and clear phoenix cry pierced the heavens, containing a majestic strength. A strong and heavy phoenix-shaped blaze spewed out from below the ground, soaring into the sky while bringing along Ma Hongjun. The area that was enveloped in that distorted air just now was now completely covered in flames. The fiery phoenix directly rushed 10 or so meters into the sky, spreading out its wings in midair. Surprisingly, it looked just like a phoenix descending on the world. The Shrek 7 devils who saw this beautiful sight couldn't help but be somewhat dumbfounded. Although they all knew the effect of the fourth spirit technique was considerably good, but they all didn't imagine Ma Hongjun's strength would be that powerful to such an extent. Although Fatty's flames were strong before gaining the giant Earth King's spirit ring, he didn't have any effective means to attack. While Phoenix Fire Wire's power wasn't bad under the empowerment of Bathing Fire Phoenix, but at best it was only able to contend against spirit masters of the same rank. Moreover, there was only one method of attack. The large increase in fire effect and the slight increase in the duration of the flying ability from Phoenix Ascension were also unable to largely increase his attack capability. As a power attack system spirit master, this was something that had been nagging Fatty for a while. Yet right now, the fourth spirit technique Phoenix Cry Sky Strike released by Fatty completely changed the situation. With the combined boost from the second and third spirit technique, this attack had such a terrifying attack effect that even Flender, Zhao Wuji, Lu Erlong and the rest couldn't help but contract their pupils. Among the Shrek 7 devils, Dai Mabai, whose spirit energy was the strongest, also acknowledged that it was impossible to not fully retreat under this kind of attack. The sharp cries of Pink Queen inside the Phoenix flames abruptly halted. Accompanying the gorgeous flaming phoenix slowly dispersing in the sky, Fatty lightly landed onto the ground. Although his face was somewhat pale, his expression was filled with excitement. Pink Queen's body dropped heavily onto the ground. Its glittering and translucent body had completely transformed to a dark red color, the entire body emitting an unpleasant burnt smell. Other than some mild convulsions, it couldn't stand up anymore. If not for Fatty showing mercy by controlling the strength of the flames, that attack just now was enough to take its life. What made Fatty somewhat puzzled was that the spider web that bound the Pink Queen unexpectedly still remained, only turning into a fiery red color and not turning into ashes. Only right now, after releasing his fourth spirit technique, being in a state of excitement, he didn't think so much about it. Grandmaster suddenly said, "Oscar, hurry. Kill it. The vital point is where the eyes are, then immediately start absorbing the spirit ring." Oscar was momentarily taken aback, but once he saw the urgency radiating from Grandmaster's eyes, he immediately understood. Quickly rushing to the front, not even thanking Ma Hongjun, a dagger was drawn out from around the waist and immediately stabbed downwards. Although 40 ranks of spirit energy did not give him any offensive ability, his strength compared to ordinary people was still much stronger. The Pink Queen's shell had already been softened by Ma Hongjun's phoenix flames. This beast's life was ended effortlessly. Crossing his legs and sitting beside the Pink Queen, Oscar immediately started the spirit ring absorption process. At this moment, large amounts of the surrounding pink maidens had already retreated like a tide. What caused them to retreat was not only the death of the Pink Queen, but more importantly the powerful pressure coming from Fatty's phoenix flames made him so. Flender walked to the side of Ma Hongjun, slapping the back of his plump head. "Stop being smug already. Hurry up, sit down and start recovering your spirit energy." Ma Hongjun, who got hit, stuck out his tongue, hurriedly sitting down not far from Oscar, silently starting to cultivate. While his attack just now was very beautiful and its attack extremely powerful, simultaneously using the second, third and fourth spirit techniques to him, who had recently gained a spirit ring and hence advancing to the 41 rank boundary, was still an immense drain. In addition, in pursuing the flame's visual effect, he went all out in depicting that perfect phoenix form in the sky, using up at least 70% of his spirit energy. Ning Rongrong muttered, "Every spirit technique gained is indeed a qualitative improvement. Who knows what my fourth spirit ring will be? Grandmaster, why do you let Oscar absorb that Pink Queen's spirit ring? While the number of years of this spirit beast's cultivation isn't too bad, but it isn't strong at all." Grandmaster replied, "Regarding spirit masters who need spirit rings, there are no spirit beasts that are the most powerful, only spirit beasts that are the most suitable for them. This Pink Queen is much better for Oscar than the effect of any other spirit beasts. If I guessed correctly, after he has gained this fourth spirit ring, it will somewhat help the offensive strength of you all as a whole." Tang San was taught by Grandmaster. With regards to Grandmaster's way of thinking, he understood him the best. Getting an inspiration, "Teacher, Do you mean that Little Ow's fourth spirit ring will mix in the stimulating toxin from the Pink Queen's poison fog? Grandmaster nodded his head, said, that is correct. What Oscar has is a food system spirit. Even if he absorbs the spirit of poisonous spirit beasts, his spirit techniques will not produce toxins. So, this technique that originally belonged to the Pink Queen will have a certain transformation after he has absorbed it. The effect should be increasing the level of stimulation within a short period of time. I am unable to guarantee the extent of increase, but it should increase all attributes, just like back then the entire Mad Battle team entering into a frenzy effect that you all had encountered. While his technique may also have after effects, but I reckon it should not be as tyrannical as the fanaticism ability. Increasing all attributes. Just these few words were enough to make the hearts of the Shrek 7 devils beat faster. The one with the most distinct expression was Ning Rongrong. Since that day Oscar confessed to her, she watched him diligently cultivate every day. Seeing Oscar getting a considerably useful spirit technique again, how could she not be happy for him? However, her heart also became more perturbed. Deciding at the start that she would reveal her secrets to Oscar after the Spirit Master competition, but as that moment got nearer Ning Rongrong's mood changes also became faster. She discovered that right now she would thoughtlessly take more notice of Oscar, not because of his looks, but because of the dedication in his eyes. Ning Rongrong clearly knew, this dedication in Oscar's eyes was formed completely because of her. He truly liked her, and so to be able to have the qualifications to chase her he continuously worked hard. 2 yellow, 1 purple, the 3 spirit rings moved up and down Oscar's body. Right now, the body of the Pink Queen continuously emitted traces of pink glitter, integrating into Oscar. When the pink light entered his body, Oscar's expression slowly revealed a painful look. Grandmaster had mentioned before, the difficulty of absorbing a spirit ring was greatly related to the level of the spirit beast's resentment. Not only did the Pink Queen bear a hatred for her murdered husband, she also died under Oscar's hands. Her resentment could not possibly be small. Absorbing it was naturally not easy, but after all it was still within the range that can be absorbed. At the same time its ability was not as tyrannical as the man-faced demon spider back then. Although Oscar had to bear some pain, he would not be in any danger. Flender moved close to Grandmaster's side, whispering, "Xiao Gang, you saw Hongjun's attack effect just now, what do you think?" Although his mouth asked a question, the exaltation on his face could not be covered up at all. Seeing his direct disciple becoming stronger and stronger, he also felt a sense of fulfillment. Tang San's radiance among the Shrek 7 devils was overly blinding. The strength Ma Hongjun displayed just now made Flender rejoice beyond all expectations. To say the least, he felt that his disciple was finally not too far off compared to Tang San. As expected, Grandmaster approvingly nodded his head, said, "Remarkably not bad." Just now Hongjun's outburst of attack power was not too different from the attack strength when Mabai uses up all his energy. It is enough to inflict fatal injuries onto 50th ranked spirit masters and those below it. What's more important is that his attacks contain the effect of phoenix flames. Not only is the temperature of his flames very high, it also has a very strong adhering property. The boosted harm inflicted by the flames is almost comparable to the spirit power burst forth from the main attack. In terms of explosive power, right now among the Shrek 7 devils Fatty is the strongest, slightly stronger than Mabai. Flender laughed and said, "This is all thanks to Lu Erlong. If not for her pulling back just in time last night, little Fatty would not have such a good reward." Grandmaster was very familiar with Flender. This fellow had always regarded his reputation to be important, and while Grandmaster himself and him are close brothers, he wouldn't mind giving him some criticisms. Of course, this was a reminder completely out of goodwill. "Flender, have you discovered Fatty's current disadvantage?" Grandmaster faintly asked. "Disadvantage? You mean his ability to sustain his attacks?" Flender muttered. Grandmaster nodded his head and said, "Although Fatty's instantaneous explosive power is very strong, but the drain on the spirit energy is simply too much. His ability to maintain combat is inferior to Mabai. Once his attack does not achieve the expected results, his combat strength will be weakened to a great extent for a short period of time. This is one of the restrictions on his ability for now. At the same time, there is another problem. His fourth spirit technique inherited the giant Earth King's magma earth rending strike. Combining it together with his body's phoenix flames, it transformed into the Phoenix Cry Sky Strike, but the fundamental issue did not change. This Phoenix Cry Sky Strike of his is divided into two parts. The first part is causing his opponent to become dizzy within the distorted air, and the second part is then taking advantage of the period where the opponent is dizzy to release the strongest attack. The time the opponent is dizzy is also the time he charges up. Am I wrong? Flender nodded his head, said, "You are the Grandmaster, of course you are not wrong." Grandmaster said, "And so because of it, Fatty also inherited the magma earth rending strike's disadvantage, which is the attack range. Think about it. Will the opponent casually let him come close to activate his attack? As long as one escapes about 5 meters in distance away from him before he releases the first phase of Phoenix Cry Sky Strike, his attack will then become a futile effort. This can not only be achieved by Agility Attack System Spirit Masters, but even Power Attack System Spirit Masters who are slightly cautious can also easily do so. Speed is originally not what Fatty is proficient at. Although Phoenix Ascension enables him to fly temporarily, the more important functions of it is to boost the effect of the flames and its power, and not boosting his speed. Hence, although the explosive power of his attack is very strong, he has to coordinate with others. Listening to Grandmaster's explanation, Flender immediately understood. What you meant is that there must be someone to first help Hongjun lock down the opponent's movements, and then he can unleash the Phoenix Cry Sky Strike's greatest power. Grandmaster nodded, just so. Because Hongjun's Phoenix Cry Sky Strike requires close proximity for the stun effect, it doesn't lock down the opponent, therefore in my theory it's used after the opponent has been restrained. And I would use Little San's spider web restraint to restrain the opponent. Later restraining abilities requires coordinating with previous restraining abilities. Spider web restraint restrains the opponent's movement, also bringing out its poison to decrease the opponent's defense. At this time Fatty can further supplement with the additional restraint and display the Phoenix Cry Sky Strike. Only then will it be a one-hit certain kill. This is only one among many methods of coordinating it, but concretely how still requires careful study. The key area is, spirit power cannot be wasted, to let each strength show its best effect. Speaking of this, Grandmaster couldn't keep an admiring light from his eyes. These children's gifts are exceptional. Take anyone at random, they can all be considered top geniuses. Mabai's toughness and strength, Oscar and Ning Rongrong's dual support, Hongjun's burst power, Zhuqing's speed, Xiao Wu's close combat technique, as well as Little San's cool mind. Combined together, it's practically perfect. Perhaps right now they're perplexed by having one less attacker from the dual support, but as each of their spirits gradually comes into its own strength, and the support effect advances one step further, this little team will only become even more frightening. Flender looked at Grandmaster with a smile that wasn't a smile. Why don't you mention Little San's strength, and only his mind? Grandmaster smiled slightly, saying, I can't keep a face like yours. Although Little San's strength is pretty good right now, that is because the quality of his spirit rings is excellent, along with having an external spirit bone. But looking at his foundation, blue-silver grass is after all blue-silver grass. Along with everyone's strength increasing, and as they gain more spirit abilities, blue-silver grass weaknesses will gradually appear. That's why I say that his ability to direct the team is even more significant. This is most important as the team's soul. Flender said in a low voice, when are you prepared to let him start cultivating his second spirit? Grandmaster resolutely said, he must at least wait until after the 80th spirit power rank. Twin spirits is a heavenly gift. I don't wish for Little San's talent to be wasted in any way. At the same time, right now I still haven't figured out a way to dissolve the many negative side effects that will arise after the spirit's amplification of his body. Unless I figure this out, I won't let him take chances. Otherwise, if his body is unable to endure the excessive added attributes from the spirits and breaks down, I will inevitably regret it all my life. If I can't think of a method, I would rather have him be only a blue-silver grass spirit master. I think even his father would agree with me on this. For little Sans Sake, perhaps, after this time's Spirit Master tournament ends, I will have to make a trip to Supreme Pontiff Hall. When Flender heard this, he couldn't help being alarmed. You'll go see her? Aren't you afraid Erlong will flip? Grandmaster said with a wry smile. Help me out when that moment comes. For little Sans Sake, I must go see her. Flender's brows furrowed deeply, looking at Grandmaster with a serious expression. Xiao Gang, you have to think clearly. You should know she isn't like Erlong. Perhaps, you might not be able to return from this trip. Grandmaster shook his head. No, this bit I'm still certain of. Well, let's not talk about this. Everything will have to wait until after this time's Advanced Spirit Master Academy tournament ends. You have to keep this confidential for me. You especially can't let Erlong know. Flender nodded. Don't worry, I know how serious it is. As a result of the Pink Queen's resentment, Oscar's absorption was a lot slower than Ma Hongjun's was last night, using a full 2 hours to complete the whole process. Perhaps it was because he was influenced by the dazzlingly beautiful form of the Pink Queen, but after absorbing the spirit ring, Oscar seemed to have become even more handsome. Seeing him after his cultivation, Ma Hongjun couldn't help saying, worthy of being a prostitute's face. Oscar didn't pay any attention to Fatty's mocking. You're jealous, I just won't listen. Anyway, if you want to be as handsome as your big brother, you won't have the opportunity in your whole life. Everyone gathered around, and Dai Mabai somewhat impatiently asked, Little Ao, what's your fourth spirit ring ability? Among spirit masters, asking about spirit abilities was a major taboo, and ordinary spirit master would in no way want knowledge about their spirit abilities to be revealed to others. But the feelings among the Shrek 7 devils had long ago transcended mere friends. An excited light like what Fatty had that morning flickered in Oscar's eyes. My fourth spirit ability is stimulation. For 5 minutes it can give the taker a 10% increase in all attributes. Dai Mabai, somewhat disappointed, said, only 10%. And only 5 minutes. This spirit ability, Oscar snorted, saying, Boss Dai, listen clearly. It's 10% increase to all attributes. In other words, after taking it the overall strength will increase by 10%. That's not as simple as you think. Moreover, it should be able to stack with any other support effect. Within these 5 minutes, it can bring your strength to 110%, at the same time counteracting all negative conditions. Grandmaster's voice came from behind the Shrek 7 devils. Correct, this fourth spirit ability of his is in no way as simple as it seems on the surface. Hearing his voice, the gazes of the Shrek 7 devils all focused on Grandmaster. Grandmaster looked at Oscar with satisfaction, saying, all attributes increasing by 10% doesn't sound like a large proportion, but it can let you immediately reach the 110% level, and this is under the premise it cancels out all negative conditions. No spirit master dares say he can use 100% of his strength in every fight. It's possible to be able to use only 80%, or even lower. Especially in circumstances where the opponent has some weakening effects among their spirit abilities, the restrictions will be even greater. But this stimulation ability of Oscar's is able to completely counteract these negative effects. By my calculations, it should even be able to elevate your mind, adding a further 10% amplification. It can also make each of you for a short term break out your most powerful strength. In later battles you will come to understand how wonderful this fourth spirit ability is. Oscar nodded agreement. Only, Grandmaster, this spirit ability also has 2 flaws. One is that it sustains for too short a time. The other is that it can't be preserved. After it's been summoned, it has to be taken within 1 minute to be effective. In other words, I can't make it in advance before battles. In comparatively better news, it doesn't use up too much of my spirit power, about the same as my flying mushroom sausage. Moreover, it doesn't have any side effects. I, your father, have a pink sausage. The last line was the spirit incantation for this new spirit ability. Pink light could be seen condensing in Oscar's palm, and in a moment, a sparkling and translucent, thick like a little finger, pink sausage appeared in the hollow of his palm. Ma Hongjun to the side grinned oddly. "Little Ow, when did yours become so small?" As he spoke, the girls couldn't keep from blushing, and they firmly glared at him. Oscar snapped, "Whether Big Brother's sausage is big or not, you won't get to eat it." Grandmaster sternly said, "Just by being without side effects, this fourth spirit ability of yours is much better than those of many other support spirit masters." Flender held back a smile, saying, "Well, don't talk nonsense, let's keep going. You still need 3 spirit rings. Let's hope our luck continues to be this good and we can find what you need as quickly as possible." Even though the size of the Sunset Forest wasn't as enormous as Stardew Great Forest, it still wasn't something that could be covered in a few days, and the Shrek Academy party continued searching in this vast forest. In terms of overall quality, the spirit beasts in Sunset Forest was perhaps a bit better than Stardew Great Forest, but there weren't any truly powerful creatures among them. After 2 days, they still hadn't encountered a spirit beast that suited the other 3. Flender also couldn't help being somewhat impatient. The sleeping arrangements were no longer a problem. Grandmaster didn't give Lu Erlong another opportunity, each night cultivating outside the tent. Flender and Zhao Wuji also feared Lu Erlong and kept Grandmaster company. Unfortunately, they didn't bring more than 2 tents. After a few days, the Shrek 7 devils were in excellent spirits, while Grandmaster's trio were a bit unwell. Especially Grandmaster, whose cultivation was lowest. Without several days of proper rest, he already had dark circles under his eyes. Stopping, Flender frowned. "Let's rest here first. Searching like this is no method. Although there are many types of spirit beasts in Sunset Forest, aren't the top quality ones pitifully few? If it drags on like this, I'm afraid the Spirit Master tournament will have begun." In 2 days of searching, it wasn't that they hadn't encountered spirit beasts with suitable cultivation age, but Grandmaster wasn't satisfied with the properties of these spirit beasts. With him following, naturally he wished to match everyone with the most suitable spirit rings. The Shrek 7 devils didn't lack talent, and whether it was Grandmaster, Flender or Zhao Wuji, none of them wanted to see their futures influenced by an unsuitable spirit ring.